with a feeble grip, can carve wood or hammer steel. Even the tender hands of a child can grasp a set of instructions. But to create something takes rare hands, shrewder hands, handsome, brilliant hands. The hands that forged the first scepter of power. My hands have slipped through dimensions, touching things that warp the mind and test the mettle of the strongest will. From the far reaches of the astral plane, beyond countless dimensions, monsters, beasts, beasts without legs, beasts that are only legs, heroes that aren't heroes at all. I have brought them here to answer one simple question. Can your hands wield the true Aghanim scepter?
Oi, space face! Crack one! Ha-ha! Catch you never, Dingleberry!
Futile creature.
Munted! Now this I'm into!
A continuum device. Here all along. I knew Valora was lying when she said Mars destroyed you. Well, where and when should we go first? Huh? Oh, great. Idiot. What'd you do?
There was a thing in the woods. But once a year, it left the woods to feast on us. Then one year, out of the woods came nothing. Another year passed, and another. Over time, we forgot our fear. And turned our backs on the dark. Slivers of the mad moon hang forgotten in our sky, slowly aligning. It is time again. The tide rises and brings with it something dire.
Don't let this pretty scene fool you. This world is a dangerous place. When you get to be my age, you'll see friends come and go. It's important to take care of the ones still kicking. In the heat of battle, you'd be surprised how far a little kindness might go. But not everyone deserves kindness.
Hello, Auntie.
This all you brought?
Yes.
Oh. Attaboy! I didn't offer to share.
Goodies!
Any layman with a feeble grip can carve wood or hammer steel. Even the tender hands of a child can grasp a set of instructions. But to create something takes rare hands, shrewder hands, handsome, brilliant hands. The hands that forged the first scepter of power. have slipped through dimensions, touching things that warp the mind and test the mettle of the strongest will. From the far reaches of the astral plane, beyond countless dimensions, monsters, beasts, beasts without legs, beasts that are only legs, heroes that aren't heroes at all. I have brought them here to answer one simple question. Can your hands wield the true Aghanim scepter?
Oi, space face. Crack one. Woo. Ha-ha. Catch you never, Dingleberry. Munted. Now this I'm into.
A continuum device. Here all along. I knew Valora was lying when she said Mars destroyed you. Well, where and when should we go first? Huh? Oh, great. What'd you do?
There was a thing in the woods. But once a year, it left the woods to feast on us. Then one year, out of the woods came nothing. Another year passed, and another. Over time, we forgot our fear. And turned our backs on the dark. Slivers of the mad moon hang forgotten in our sky, slowly aligning. It is time again. The tide rises and brings with it something dire.
Don't let this pretty scene fool you. This world is a dangerous place. When you get to be my age, you'll see friends come and go. It's important to take care of the ones still kicking. In the heat of battle, you'd be surprised how far a little kindness might go. But not everyone deserves kindness.
Hello, Auntie.
This all you brought?
Yes.
Oh. Attaboy! I didn't offer to share.
Goodies! Yoink!
Any layman with a feeble grip can carve wood or hammer steel. Even the tender hands of a child can grasp a set of instructions. But to create something takes rare hands, shrewder hands, handsome, brilliant hands. The hands that forged the first scepter of power. My hands have slipped through dimensions, touching things that warp the mind and test the mettle of the strongest will. From the far reaches of the astral plane, beyond countless dimensions, monsters, Beasts! Beasts without legs! Beasts that are only legs! Heroes that aren't heroes at all! I have brought them here to answer one simple question. Can your hands wield the true Aghanim scepter?
Oi, space face! Crack one! Ooh. Ha-ha! Catch you never, Dingleberry! Munted! Now this I'm into!
Pretty interesting that they're making other games tournaments.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Top Clans 2022 Summer Season Dota 2 Invitational organized by NetEasy Games. I am Aponzus, with me here the fantastic Bowie. In June and early July, top teams of Dota 2 across the Asia-Pacific region have gone through intense competition in regional qualifiers and delivered high-level matches for all Dota 2 players. 8 teams from Thailand, Philippines, Myanmar, Indonesia, Japan, and China finally gather here in the invitational stage, competing for the Summer Season Invitational Championship and $10,000 prize pool. Before we start, we wish to extend our sincere gratitude to our live stream partners, Twitch and EGG Network. Our Dota 2 Invitational will be broadcast in 3 languages for English. Please check out our Facebook, Twitch, and our TV broadcast partner, EGG Network. For Thai, please reach our Twitch Thai channel. And we also have Tagalog in our YouTube channel, so wherever you want to watch, we're going to be there. And we're going to have our series now, LBCS versus Young Gun Galacticos in a best of one here. Bowie, we're gonna have an elimination match right after start.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is going to be a pretty exciting match. I was looking at the latest matches because this is the first game of this tournament that I'm actually casting, so I'm not that familiar with the players. But still, Dota 2, you know, regardless of where you are, can be exciting, and I think this is not going to be any different.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like these two teams were two of the most evenly matched. And we're just gonna take a quick look here at what the entire time frame is here for the tournament. As you see, we are already in the knockout stage. We're gonna knocking out teams like flies here. One team is gonna go right in this series, Young Gun Galacticos or LBCS. And the semi and grand finals are gonna be on the 17th here, as we're also gonna take a quick look at the distribution of the prize pool here. With 4,000 going to the
BO1,
champion.
right?
This is a BO1 between LBCS versus Young Gun Galacticos.
Yeah, always pretty exciting, pretty gruesome, this BO1s, because, you know, Dota, a lot of people like to say it's a BO3 game. You really need to have like 3 matches so that you kind of get to know your opponent. But in these elimination matches, you not always get the BO3, and BO1s, they are ruthless. So because these teams already played against each other, I think they'll at least have an edge and understanding of what's supposed to happen. So I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Yes, that's going to be the first match that we will be seeing today, the matchup of Young Gun Galacticos versus LBCS elimination match. After that, we're going to go back into the upper bracket of Team Tsunami versus Grinsky eSports. And I have to say, I've seen Team Tsunami. They looked very good. And Grinsky eSports, I've been told, looked very, very strong as well. So that's another very hype series coming up after this. But let's take a quick look here at the players from Young Gun Galacticos. Here, I feel like Skillay is the one name I've heard of here. Apart from that, not too familiar here. Now, LBCS has won the previous Top Clans Invitational in the winter, so they are the reigning champions, but already here in the lower bracket, as they have been brought here by M11. So, well, it's not easy here in the Top Clans. You always got to bring your A game. And you mentioned the best of ones. I always love when teams already have played against each other, because then you like start seeing these layers, especially during the draft, where they're like, okay, in the previous series they really like this and this strategy, and we adapt to that, and then like how does the team reacting to that adaptability? And that is what I'm very, very excited to see in this first series between the two, especially since it was a 2-1 when it was the best of 3. And we are already here into the draft, as we have the Alchemist, this time picked up by LBCS. Young Gun Galacticos picked that up 2 times in the previous series for themselves against LBCS. So what do you make of these openers?
I mean, it's a pretty greedy opener, I would say, from LBCS. Not only, you know, because it's Alchemist, yada yada, but usually if you see Alchemist in the first phase, it's going to be an 8th pick. It's going to be like, at least you can protect that Alchemist a little bit. But already, if you pick a first pick like this, the Tiny Viper is going to look very, very scary. So I'm hoping that the Alchemist is actually going to be flexing to a sort of a support. I've seen position 4 and position 5 Alchemists in a couple of Hymar pubs. So maybe that is something they're going for here. And these counter picks that Young Gun Galacticos picked are not going to really impact into the Alchemist that much, since it's a support. You only, like, the level 1 stun on that hero is actually pretty good. So hoping to see that. On the other side, this Tiny Viper, it's a pretty, you know, standard opener, I would say. The Viper probably going to be an off lane with the Tiny as a position 4. So really strong lane. You have the stun, you have the toss back. Really hard for anyone to really stay in that lane. So trying to figure out what exactly they can pick. I think like a Weaver off lane might be a hero that can maybe lane against these 2 guys.
So now you mentioned you would like to see this Alchemist in the support role. Do you feel like as a position 1 he will be just like absolutely getting destroyed by a Tiny Viper?
I think so. You have to totally dodge the Viper lane if you want to play that, or you need some sort of like a Baron or some like
5 seconds
very
remaining.
quiet position 5. But then my fear is that you're gonna also have this Enigma in the off lane, and your draft is gonna be super slow, like incapable of doing anything. So I wouldn't like to see that personally. Obviously, it can work, and I didn't really watch what these teams are doing, so maybe they really like the style and it works for them. But usually speaking, you know, if these were two teams of the highest caliber, I wouldn't really rate this Alchemist Enigma against the Viper like a really good lane. We'll see what they do. It's now time for the third pick here on Young Galacticos. I wouldn't mind seeing something that's not really alchemy geared towards this Alchemist. I really don't feel like it's going to be a core. Maybe if it's mid alch, then this Viper could be mid as well. So gotta stay tuned for that.
And they are using a lot of reserve time here, and I mean it's also going to reveal, like, in theory this Viper could still be a position 5 Viper, and so like there is some flexibility there as well. And Young Galacticos really going to be thinking about what they're going to do here. We might see maybe something like a silencer to try to counter the
Radiant
black
team
hole.
pick.
They're going to go Warlock.
That's our position 5, and that's also the black hole counter you were talking about. Starting to get pretty popular, this guy. He's a really good hero. Like, his chart is so freaking good. It really just like shoves waves, which actually allows this hero
10
to farm,
seconds
but it's
remaining.
also like a great team fighting spell. As long as you just throw
5
that, you don't care
seconds
if you
remaining.
die afterwards. Like, it lasts so long with the
Radiant
talents
team
and everything
pick.
that this hero has going for.
Dire team
And I'm gonna go for a Razor here.
Dusk.
Right? So it
Razor
is
plus
going
Tusk.
to be a core. I guess Enigma could still be a 5, and the Alchemist could still be the 5. So overall, actually, I kind of like the draft here from LBZ. They're not really
10
giving a
seconds
lot away.
remaining.
This Razor could pretty much lane against the Viper, I
5
think.
seconds
So
remaining.
I do like that pick specifically. The real, you know, whether they'll play this Alchemist as a core or not, I really want this Razor to be in the same lane as the Viper, because I feel like that's the pick that they kind of are trying to use to deal with that guy. And I really feel like this Razor Tusk, if they are together, can actually kill this Viper pretty easily, just because of the
Radiant
shard block.
team
Viper's
back.
pretty slow.
Phantom Assassin.
We're gonna go for a PA. Okay. So if the Alchemist is core, already a really good pick here for Young Galacticos, and that's why I feel like it's extremely greedy to just get this Alchemist as a core early on, because
10
you know,
seconds
even though PA
remaining.
is not the greatest hero, it definitely just shreds Alchemist apart.
5 seconds
Absolutely.
remaining.
LBCS, I mean, if this is an Alchemist position 5, Enigma 4, what kind of hero would you like for them to like round out their draft? I feel like they kind of need like either a position like Razor. Could you be your position 1? Could just be in the lane against Viper. Maybe your mid.
Dire team back.
I think Tusk is a support for sure,
Radiant
right?
team
And then the question is whether Elk or Enigma is the support.
Yeah.
Razor could be off lane, I think. So they're either less picking a support or a mid hero, ideally, for LBZS.
I mean, we've also seen Arkosh likes to
10
play the
seconds
Enigma mid,
remaining.
so you know.
Ooh, spicy. Yeah, I'm
5
very
seconds
familiar
remaining.
with that, because when they used to do the Enigma mid, that guy is actually Effie's brother, and I'm a big fan with him. He's a really good player. I do feel like that's a very specialty sort of thing, but I would love to see that, man. I actually feel like it's underrated even, but could even destroy this Viper, by the way. The Viper's mid. Now they actually ban Co-op here, so they feel like it's not going to be a Viper mid. They feel like they are needing a mid hero on Young Galacticos. Same thing for both sides, actually. They banned the Bat Rider there. So we're probably going to see an Elk carry. And I will be honest, I think this Elk, if it wins this game, it will be crazy, because I think he's just totally counter already.
Yeah, like I feel like there are so many ways of dealing with his Alchemist. Like before he has BKB, Tiny just like makes it impossible for him to ever go in and like keep on a
Dire
target.
team
Once he
back.
has a BKB, there's still Viper Strike and the Rock from the Warlock, and then there's a PA on top of you just killing you. I'm struggling to see how a position 5
10
Alchemist
seconds remaining.
is not gonna run into like kind of
5
the same
seconds
issues,
remaining.
except that he's just poor, and like what is he gonna bring to the table,
Radiant team pick.
like that he is worthy of a first pick.
So, my problem here is I feel like a lot of people misunderstand Alk in the sense that what's really like the reason this hero came back into the meta is that his stun level 1 is like crazy, which is why I don't like it paired with a
10
5
seconds
Enigma.
remaining.
So maybe hoping that Tusk is actually the 5 because
5 seconds
this hero level
remaining.
1 is probably one of the strongest level 1 heroes if you just learn Concoction.
Yeah.
Alongside the tag team, you just have a lot of damage. But if you paired with a super passive support like Enigma, sure you can control the creep equilibrium and you're gonna farm under tower. But I don't feel like that's the prime way to play core Alchemist. That's to me is the problem, is that if the Alk score, then Enigma is probably the 5, and I think that lane's total garbage. Even if you control the equilibrium in a way, denying the creeps, it's still going to be so passive. I feel like if Young Galacticos lose this game, and Alk is a carry and Enigma is a 5, it's really on to them not abusing that lane as properly as they should. Oh, wow. Whoa. Is this mid
Wait.
Enigma then? Or it could be Razor mid, right, with the Enigma 3.
Yeah. It could also be
I do like the
Marcy
Marcy,
mid,
though.
like in theory.
I love Marcy and Alk. I
10
hope they
seconds
play those two
remaining.
heroes together, because that's really the aggressive support I was talking about. Like, she has 2
5
stuns,
seconds remaining.
and it does give Alk sustain with the sidekick as well. So usually it would kind of struggle against the Viper because of so much damage, but the Alk could just lifesteal a little bit, get back in fighting shape.
Also, like just that relocation with the dispose is it's an insane spell. It's just I'm actually
I love
very
this
surprised now that like we saw the Marcy and I was like, wait, Marcy hasn't been banned the entire game.
Choose your
As Young
hero.
Galacticos, they're gonna go for a Pangolier. Okay.
So it's well, I actually don't know who's the position 1 for LBZS, so I can really I can actually confirm who's gonna be playing mid. But I think this Pangolier is a pretty good pick. I want to say I think they were lacking a little bit of stun and a little bit of low cooldown spells, and that Pangolier definitely going to be a mid hero. So I'm just gonna stay on top of that Alchemist. The disarm is really good this game against the Razor and the Alk. If you know, even though I like this last pick Marcy, and I really hope it's gonna be a 5 Marcy, overall I feel like Young and Galacticos actually had the better draft. I really feel like that Alk first pick is very forced. It just screams to me, you know, like when you're playing with friends and they're like, just give me this hero, I'm gonna carry you guys. And you know, that's fun and all, and I appreciate how confident they are, but that usually isn't the best way to play Alk.
Yeah, we'll see how it's gonna work out here. Kagome is the position 1 player for LBCS, so we are going to be seeing him on the core role. Yeah, so let's head here into the game. You said you like Young and Galacticos draft. I mean, I'm gonna say I feel like a Marcy pick is really good. So I'm gonna be on the side of LBCS here, as best of ones.
Okay.
The draft has been made, and now you have to execute it.
I mean, if you're going to play a BO1, you know, just going for the cheese, going for whatever you like is nice. But Alk Enigma, man, I struggle to really. I feel like they really have to play amazingly well to make it work. On the other hand, there's not a lot of actual tower siege for the Galacticos, so they might struggle to close out this game, especially because a couple of their spells, like this PA is a very slow hero, and the Warlock also a very slow support. So that's what they actually have going for LBZS here. This might be a long game, actually.
Yeah, and I feel like that is also where LBCS like in the previous series against Young and Galacticos, their wins for LBCS were the long games and their loss was the short game. So it feels we continue that trend between the two teams of Radiant just, or LBCS, being very greedy. Like, I mean, it's a first pick Alchemist and then an Enigma. It can't really get more greedy than that. Versus, I mean, Young and Galacticos is picking the Viper and the Tiny. Like, it's two very opposed ideologies of Dota lanes coming in here.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be kind of it's kind of crazy because even though it's not like the draft on the Dire side isn't super greedy, they also are slow. So you know, now that I actually ponder a little bit more about these drafts, you might be onto something here because maybe this Alchemist is just gonna get free farm. Like if he doesn't get very punishing lane, this could just be the fiesta, total fiesta here. He'll give some eggs to everyone. I don't even know what the Marcy eggs does. Well, actually, I'm gonna Google this as we are paused.
What does the Marcy eggs do? That's a great question.
Does she have an eggs?
I believe so. I believe so.
Okay, let's check. So the eggs for this hero. Reduces Unleash cooldown by 10. While Unleash is active, all of Marcy's abilities... Wait, all of Marcy's abilities unleash pulses when cast. What?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, right. It was like whenever you use your ability like that, that radius AoE damage is gonna come out. We're gonna get caught out here. He is gonna be under the tower. However, it's now they're coming in from the rear here.
Ooh.
A nice 2 heroes done. That is why you get unstable concoction level 1, and they get first blood onto the Viper and a nice D-ward there. Also still looking for the Tiny here with the nice shards. That's gonna be another kill, another concoction, and another death. That's a fantastic start here for LBCS.
I really dislike the idea from the Galacticos here. Like, when you look at their draft, it's a pretty bad level 1 draft. Like, PA level 1, very bad. Warlock level 1, garbage. And then they're against this Alk with Marcy, Tusk, Razor. So, I think that's really how the Alk kind of gets away with this game. Because, did he actually get the first blood? I can't check. But, oh, there we go.
The first blood was by the Tusk.
All right.
But it is 4
going
bounty
to be a
runes for
mid-razor,
the Radiant.
Oh,
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that much because he doesn't have the Grievous grid, right? But still pretty good overall for the team. And this lane here, Razor versus Pango, it's okay for the Pango. He's always going to be able to swashbuckle away from the link. So that's probably why they went for this.
Yeah.
You can see some boops.
I mean, both mid lanes are always just gonna
bottom.
see the farm as bottom dead. Ooh.
Oh well.
And this Viper was supposed to counter the Alchemist, and LBCS said, wait. How about we turn it around and we counter them? And neither of us saw that one coming, to be honest.
I mean, it's just that, like, sometimes we expect players to play on a way, and they play differently. I feel like if they don't give that first blood away, if they'll just, lane normally, that shouldn't happen. But it's so much chaos going on that, we actually didn't see exactly what happened there. But bottom, you can see that, like, this Viper, it's 2 melee heroes. He's supposed to just own if he can. But now Viper is only level 1 here. He doesn't have a second spell. And even though
the toss-up is not gonna be in time to prevent the concoction, and at the end, everybody's just gonna get away.
Another thing that Marcy does in this lane that's super good is that she gives 40% move speed to the allies when she. So it's really hard for the Viper to actually get on top. So until the Marcy was picked, it kind of looked pretty good for the Galacticos, but really good, nice. I mean, usually you don't see the great last pick Marcy because it gets banned, as you said. But really good last pick.
Yeah. And with that start, oh, up top here, are they gonna find the kill onto the PA as well? Oh no. Ooh, this is a disaster of a start.
Yes, because PA just farms so slowly, and on the other side you have the total opposite of that spectrum. The fastest farming boy by a pretty big margin here with that Alchemist.
Yeah. And now, with that happening, I feel like a little bit the issue that with Young Galacticos draft is, like, who's supposed to, like, make plays for the next 10 minutes? Like, you need kind of like the Blink Dagger on the Tiny before you can really do much more, as Young PH just playing with the Razor here. And gonna be fine. It's up top. Warlock gonna be not fine, unfortunately. He is going to die there. These 3 lanes look all really good for LDP.
Speaking of looking good, that Tiny gets stunned. But now Elk actually taking some good damage here. This could be the first kill of Viper.
He is gonna throw out the toss, but Marcy is gonna finish off the Viper first, and Kagome is just waiting in the trees. Can the Tiny find him? No, he's gonna get disposed into the coffin. Get out of here. And Alchemist is just like, yo, does he want to die here? Not anymore now that the Viper
he
is
just
here.
wanted to get the experience. Dude, he can't catch a break. Like, such a tough start for them with that first blood.
Oh, that's a swashbuckle. They still... Oh, he denied him? He denied himself. All right, Alchemist is one of the few heroes that can still deny himself.
Yes. That hero is so good right now. Actually, if you know all the things that hero can do, oh my god, they get another kill on the Warlock.
And that the PA is going to go down as well. Oh no. In the mid lane, meanwhile, the Tiny is going to try for a gank onto the Razor, but it is a Razor. That's going to be the toss away, and Razor's like, yo, you trying to gank
That's
me?
not really a gank.
Yeah. Like,
oh no. Okay, so man, like they split that lane because they're like, this is not working, which I feel like it's the right idea, but at the same time, this Alchemist is like has double the CS of the Viper. The PA can't really get anything. They just get running over the Galacticos.
Yeah, is Kish dead? Shard on cooldown for another 10. But I mean, like, this PA is not farming. Like, it's just not farming.
This is a 3k goldie at 5 minutes. You very rarely see something like that. And now this Viper, poor boy.
And Marcy, man, what a hero.
Yeah.
And yeah, you mentioned that, like, that movement speed from the rebound. That makes the Viper lane so much less scary. Oh.
Yeah. It definitely does. Also, doesn't really help that I'm pretty sure it was the Viper and the Tiny that died in that first engagement. So they also, waste. They're already like playing from behind. And this Auk, he knows what he's doing. That's probably why they first faced. This hero is really strong in capable hands. And usually you don't get to play that Marcy Auk lane, but they just got it for some reason, which also means this Warlock, getting damaged by creeps and the Tusk, and now a Razor. Razor dead.
Yeah, that's gonna be a dead Warlock, and it is 10-0. Okay. Now, you're the coach of Young Galacticos. You can take like an instant break and you can talk to them for like 3 sentences. What do you tell them, guys? What do we need to do? Oh, this is a good attempt here. Is it gonna be enough? No, they're gonna turn it around. The Alchemist is gonna survive. Oh no. Gonna find at least a kill onto the Tusk, but
I mean,
they got a kill on the board.
is under attack.
Yeah, it's a good move because this Elk's not farming now. He probably has to run back to base or affairs themselves. It doesn't really feel like they have stacks for the Elk because they've been playing this lane so proactively. So it's not like the end of the world. You could even see that the gold advantage decreased a bit. Now, what you probably have to do is find a way to enable this PA. Because, like, it's not only this Elk having an amazing game, but this Enigma actually has more net worth than the Elk. Just because he's having this free time denying all of the range creeps. This PA needs to get back online because she's the counter, the game counter to the Elk. But as I say that, they kill one guy. Viper is forced to TP back to base. And, well, Elk now has the lifesteal. Not only from that mask, but also from Marcy. So I'm assuming with no Viper in the lane, he doesn't have to actually get back to the base.
He's such low HP. I'm just like, it's so scary. Oh, he got his ultimate. Okay, he got his ultimate, and with that regen, it's gonna be fine.
Yes, exactly.
Arcane Reservoir.
Also, the lifesteal from Sidekick is just
Yeah.
beating some creeps. Good rotation here. It's only a level 4 Warlock, but the Pango has Rolling Thunder again because of his Arcane Rune.
As they're gonna
Black Hole,
young
though.
PH. They have the black hole though. He couldn't get the Rolling Thunder off, but he will survive thanks to the Shield Crush. And now the Rolling Thunder is gonna come out here. Oh, the shard. You know, Tusk was saying, Marcy, thanks for your sacrifice.
Pretty
and
sure
there
the
are
shard
even
helped them there.
stacks here.
Oh, there are. Can he get a double? All right.
Can we see
Use
some
the shard.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Okay, too late.
Okay, I'm disappointed. Like, you know, as a support player, I love seeing those stacking actions. As here, the Alchemist. We still see like this Viper, despite like being killed multiple times in lane, can still approach the lane, and that just shows how strong of a hero that still is against the Alchemist. As they're gonna go here onto the PA, has to jump away thanks to the Warlock, and that is gonna get out. They're gonna instead focus their attention onto the Warlock, but that's gonna be under a tower. And now with the rotation from the Tiny, they're looking to get a kill of their own. The toss onto the Tusk, and Tusk is going to be the one dying here, as the Tiny is gonna be fine. A-okay. A-okay. Not a worry in the world.
Dire's courier has been killed.
Okay. Usually I wouldn't like to see this Tiny TP because I feel like the Galacticos, they're falling into the bait of reacting too much. But there's no black hole, so they can definitely take some fights there. That's probably why the Enigma also died. And if they can get Marcy,
yeah, it was 10-0 and now it's 11-5. I mean, Young on Galacticos, a little bit of a rough start there, but they're bringing it back. You mentioned, like, make sure that the PA can have a game. She is now number 4 in net worth, highest on her team. The Viper is getting some solo time in the bottom lane, so things are looking a little bit up here. Like, even the net worth lead, it was 3,000 at 5 minutes. It is now 2,000 at 10 minutes. So it's gonna be a game. Gonna be a game.
You see that I do like the build here from the PA, going for that Blightstone, going for the Broadsword. Didn't really. It's not that she was really struggling with HP regen, so just going straight up for the farming items. But Ned looks like
Young
PH is just dead.
Razor is just doing Razor things there, walking him down with the Link.
Look at this. Oh, I'm a degenerate, so I just love seeing those stacks being farmed. That acid.
Efficiently with it on both cams. Oh,
That's beautiful. Now, top tower is gonna fall. That's the power of the Enigma as well. Those Eidolons do a lot of damage to towers ever since they changed the damage type on those bad boys. And we do have Black Hole up in a couple of seconds. So overall, that's when things actually start to get scary for the Galacticos again. Because that's really the only weakness that they have. Their offlaner, as farmed as he is, he only has that spell every once in a while, but that's with the Warlock Golem now being up. So maybe we could see that being countered if the Warlock is in a good position.
Yeah, so now we're gonna see here how is going to be this early mid game gonna be unfolding. A DD in the top,
Radiant's bottom
and it
tower
is gonna
is
be
under
for the
attack.
Razor, and he's gonna look to make some stuff happen with that, or maybe just yeah, that's the smoke. As the two supports looking towards bottom. I mean, if they get a kill onto the Pango first, that would be fantastic. But if the Pango gets his Rolling Thunder off, I feel like that can get turned around quite easily for Young and
Radiant's
Galacticos.
bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, it looks like the penguin is not showing here. He's probably just cutting the waves as they try to force this, which is a problem because this Viper is all by himself.
Ooh. There was a Viper there. She died very quickly. Viper died very quickly there. As up top.
Top though, as they are trying to using the intel that all of those heroes are bottom, they're trying to find this Enigma, and they're so
Oh
close.
no,
but
you're so close and yet so far. Oh no.
Okay, no,
It's
now
gonna
they see
find them now.
All right.
And yeah, they're gonna find the kill onto the Enigma. Okay.
Really good. That's 500 gold. Unfortunately, it was the Warlock that picked it up. Ideally, you would like to see that gold all on PA for the Battle Fury purposes. But still, an okay trade here for the Galacticos as this PA's prime. But you can see, you know, this Alchemist, once you get those extra points of Rival Street, he is looking to accelerate really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. As so now with the smoke coming out here from the Marcy with the Razor are looking in the mid lane with the rebound looking for the Arcane Rune, but Pango will be there first, goes for the Rolling Thunder, stops it actually, as now the Rock is gonna be dropped by the Warlock, but the Black Hole's gonna be there and no way to cancel it anymore. And they get the kill onto the Pango.
Okay.
Dire's middle tower is under
Scary. All of those Eidolons, mid tower falling. Alchemist was not a part of that, so I just wonder. I think he already has the Radiance looking at the numbers of his network here. Yeah, there you go. Radiance going straight up for the BKB. And I think the Battle Fury on PA is still a little bit delayed. This is scary, Apon. I think this Alk is starting to get out of control.
Yeah, and like it's not like the Alchemist. It's gonna be very strong. It's also gonna be like buffed up by, like as you mentioned, the sidekick as well as the tag team. Like even like the Alchemist going his second item BKB, he still will be able to do more than enough damage thanks to like all these like amplifiers plus what the rest of his team has to offer, of course.
Sure, for sure. You know, for the Alk player, there's never a team. He is the team. He's the one doing everything. But you're right, the team is definitely there. At least I heard so. And now we do see a smoke here from the Galacticos. They didn't really get phased by this. And if they can find the Enigma, no, that's the second best kill they can get.
It's gonna
get
blink
the away.
Blink away, and Tusk is gonna eat the gang.
Yeah, not ideal, but a kill nonetheless, and also the first tower that they grab. So, you know, it's always about those baby steps. I don't think they mind. And now Battle Fury up here in level 12 coming up for the PA. No, it's okay. The problem is that this Alchemist, they really need to get the Alk, and right now they're struggling with vision to even approach Kagami.
Yeah, and I mean he really is just up top, completely unfazed by anything that is going on with anybody else, just looking at all that money that he can get. Now, with this Tiny, I'm really looking forward to this Blink Dagger. When can we have that Blink Dagger on this Tiny? We're gonna 800 gold away. I feel like once I have the Blink Dagger on him and the Pangolier, I feel like the team fights are going to be a lot easier for Young and Galacticos to be able to get the quick pickoffs, like the hit and run tactics there can be proven to be quite efficient. The Viper, just very standard build, Dragonlance into the BKB. And for the PA, I assume she's just gonna go second item, BKB on her own. There is still, like, even with the BKB, it is not a free PA game. Oh, okay. PA is fine. PA is fine. PA is not as fine anymore. It's gonna be on the tower.
Yeah, he has the BKB queued up. I honestly, if I was this PA, I would probably just buy the Mithril Hammer, and depending on how the game goes, you know, he gets the Dash or the BKB, because I feel like they're gonna struggle with damage quite a bit this game, and that minus armor from the Dasso could be the difference maker in killing Kagome. But if he has 2 lives, since it feels like this rush is gonna be free, then things definitely get a little bit harder. Also, the Maelstrom build here on this Pangolier, usually you almost always see the Diffuso blade being purchased, so a little bit greedy coming from the mid lane on Galacticos.
Maybe as a way to deal with the Eidolons or something like that, potentially.
Yeah, but they do have like 70% magic rest, so it's not like that really does that much. But also, you know, it's not wide this game.
LBC, yes, they are gonna find the Warlock. I mean, that's the best case scenario for Young Galacticos. I'm just gonna say it. You're position 5. You died for that one. You're gonna be a-okay. As Skillay on the Tiny, gonna be able to get away. He also bought his thing. Never mind, he's not gonna be able to get away. BKB from the Razor.
Oh. Alright.
Yeah, they're playing a victory for the Tiny.
Yeah, I mean, they're just playing. They don't want to make any rush mistakes, so might as well press that BKB. You're so far ahead that, like, it's not like because of the BKB usage we're gonna see the Galacticos just win a fight right now. Although they are kind of grouping up, so maybe they'll try to explore that BKB usage. The problem is the Aegis is actually on the Razor. We talked about Auk having 2 lives, but it's actually the Razor that has it.
Oh yeah. And the Alchemist already the BKB finished plus a Hyperstone. Meanwhile, the PA did go for the Mithril Hammer first, but is now looking to finish up that BKB. 1,000 gold away. Tiny. Oh, is getting caught out here with the Blink Dagger. And the Dispose from the Marcy. They're going to get this kill as the Avalanche not going to be nearly enough. Although, Blink away by Skillay. The Shard are going to connect, however. It's going to be a little while, but they're going to get the kill in the end.
Yeah. Pretty scary for the Tiny, unfortunately, because if he gets jumped on, doesn't really have a way out. Those shards just make it really hard for him to do anything, and this gold advantage is starting to pile up there. Like, the ideal scenario here is because they don't push that fast on the side of LBZS, you just let them get the tier 2s, and you wait his ages out, and you fight afterwards, which is also why I kind of prefer the Dasso over the BKB. I feel like if they try to match this Aegis fight right now, they'll just get trampled over. So we'll see what they'll do. But overall, maybe just getting the Dasso and fighting after Aegis would be the best case scenario for them.
I mean, the PA at least is number 2 in net worth now. Like, she's keeping up there. Not directly with the Alchemist, of course. Since, the Alchemist just has too much of a steroid with the Grievous Creed. And we're gonna see the 4-man smoke from LBCS sweeping towards the bottom. If they catch this PA, that would be absolutely massive. She just finished her BKB. Oh, they're gonna find her. There's gonna be the Walrus Punch and the Dispose. BKB coming out and jump away. Going to the Razor, immediately trying to DP out, and will be successful at that. Ooh.
Okay. I mean, I was complaining about the BKB, but without BKB, pretty sure she dies there. So you can never really go wrong with that item. It's just that, you know, they're in such a desperate scenario that it might not matter that you know, if she dies or not there. But still, just really good moves by LBZS. They stop the lanes. They are not really making any mistakes. Feels like they're farming where they have vision. They're not really forcing things too much. It's gonna be an uphill climb here. If the Galacticos win this game, I'm gonna be very impressed because not a lot of openings being shown by the Radiant whatsoever.
Dire's middle tower
In a game like that, how would you suggest for younger Galacticos to like make those openings happen? Like, how do you force the error of your opponent?
I mean, split push is always a good option, right? They are in this mode where they want to group up and push tower, so with the PA, with Blur can maybe force a couple of waves, you force it to be like this one. Now they're split on the side of the Radiant. Can they force a fight now? They're not in position, but if they were, you know, they could kill this Razor, they could kill this Tusk. And they do have a couple of heroes together here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Tusk just narrowly avoiding them, and the PA heading on out of there. As the Warlock also gonna be able to get his
Dire's
TP.
bottom tower is under attack.
And nobody getting caught here. But yeah, like right now, Young on Galacticos, they forced Radiant back. And oh, Razor with an Invis rune here.
Dire's bottom tower.
Gonna see the PA. They're gonna start with the first and the BKB Black Hole straight on the PA. And the Walrus Punch to finish it all off there. It was just clinical there. That was just clinical.
Yeah, that was really my why I was scared of the BKB, because as long as the Enigma gets the black hole off, it doesn't matter that you have BKB, and they're so far ahead that you can't really expect your Warlock to be always like close to you, because that's a game where the PA has to split push. So I mean, just they have a lot of problems to solve and not a lot of time or money to really accomplish that. So you can see the probability is actually still higher than I would expect, considering the gold advantage and everything. So Dota Plus, you know, he looks at PA, he looks at that physical damage, feels like the Alk could be countered. So there's still hope, but we need a really good smoke. We need to see that Warlock Golem being used on the Alk. I just hope they don't go for the Enigma, because there's no black hole now. You have to ignore the Enigma if you go for the smoke and kill the other targets.
Yeah, I mean, the Enigma has even TP'd out. There's the Rolling Thunder coming through, but nobody there anymore. Like LBC has really like very, very disciplined play. Like they know they showed the Enigma in the other lane. They know they all have to back off, and they did that as a team there. And it really shows here, like Young on Galacticos. I feel like the first 5 minutes went really, really bad for them, but since then they've like cleaned up their act tremendously, and it still just feels like that those first 5 minutes were such a huge impact for the Alchemist.
Yeah, that here is all about his lane. Like if he, like if you don't get destroyed, it's already like kind of a victory for him. But he just stopped that lane. The Marcy pick definitely made that much easier. When I looked at the Alk Enigma draft, I was like, all right, this is not looking right. But I loved that they didn't play it as a 5, as a support. And they just gave him this aggressive lane. Really nicely drafted by them. I feel like we actually didn't get to talk that much about the draft. But their draft is superior in a lot of levels.
Now, the Dire are going to be grouped up here. The Enigma is still top. And there's no more Aegis that has run out. And the PA getting close to that Desolator. Oh, PA is going to get found here by the Alchemist and the Bash. That's going to be the Golem coming out. And the toss, though, from the Tiny, keeping the PA in place with the BKB. She's looking to get out of here. Viper already dead. Another jump away. The Avalanche to save the PA. Oh no! Okay, another jump, and the toss to the Ancients, and we're gonna be fine on the PA.
Yeah, it's tough because the smokes that they try to use to get kills, they never really connected into meaningful targets. And then it's usually the PA that is like the further away from the base, the hero that gets found very often. And he's just popping the BKB to survive. With the BKB cooldown being as long as it is right now, it feels like they're never ready to fight because the PA keeps getting found, which is inevitable. Oh, and they even used the Tiny mid.
Yeah, it really feels like you mentioned it a little bit earlier. You've like Young on Galacticos, like right now, like all of their plays seem reactionary to what LBCS is doing, and reactionary Dota rarely wins games, as Aegis could be, or like Roshan, I should say, could be coming up in a few seconds here, and Marcy already waiting there, position 5, just acting as a living ward there in the Roshan pit to report when that big boy is gonna spawn.
Yeah,
We
he
have the
just
Deso.
spawned
We
right
have the
now.
Deso.
But the real problem is that MKB. Once Alk finishes that, I think it's the nail in the coffin for poor PA. So ideally, you know, we would like to see a smoke towards this Roshan pit, but I'm not even sure if they have one on the side of the Dire. It's gonna be again another free Aegis. I'm assuming Kagome gets this one just because now they actually get to go high ground. Regardless, they just have to kill this Enigma. I feel like if they can kill the Enigma with a black hole, like before he pops the black hole, that's the only way they'll win this game.
Yeah. It is really like Enigma changes how a Dota game works. Like that hero can on its own completely turn it around.
Oh, look at this. PA is running bottom. They have the Viper in
Yeah.
position.
They are seeing this Enigma. He has BKB Blink, and he's gonna back off. He lets his Eidolons do his work.
Okay. Oh, super safe from LBZS. Oh, no openings being shown, man. That's so hard. Oh no. He's still coming.
He's still here. The Eidolons are still, but now the Alchemist is also in the area, so it's getting scarier to actually go for anything. And Tusk is gonna show on the lane here, and yeah, just gonna TP on both of those heroes. As meanwhile in the mid lane, Marcy, they did find the kill onto the Tiny with the haste rune off the Razor.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
They are a little bit split up on the side of LBCS, but it really feels like Young and Galacticos, like, how do you find an opener here? This Razor has BKB Shivas. He doesn't really care about anything. He's gonna have a refresher. We have a refresher on the Enigma already? Oof.
Yeah, that's why killing the Enigma is so worth it. He's not that tanky, and he carries a lot of weight in that hero. So that would be the ideal scenario, but he doesn't have to show. They are so farmed. He has Aetherland, so his blink range is massive.
It's gonna be the trying for a toss here. Tiny, however, couldn't get in range and is gonna be rock. They're gonna crumble to rocks. They're gonna get a set of racks, and for Young and Galactus, you gotta find, like, you can't just let this happen. You gotta find the fight here. You still have a great team fight ultimate in the Rolling Thunder. Is now coming through, hitting onto the Enigma. Enigma gets the BKB off, however, and uses it to turn it around onto the Pangolier. That does mean that the PA can be relatively safe to engage a fight with a BKB, as we're gonna find the toss onto the Razor. Razor doesn't have an Aegis, but the refresher, black hole there. Oh no, we're shattering dreams. LBCS just completely destroying Young on Galacticos here, as the PA with the buyback looking to turn this around. Has the BKB. They're gonna find the kill onto the Marcy. Tusk tries to get away, but is going to die. So they force 5 buybacks on the Dire side, and they hold barely.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can call that a hold, but it's such a costly. I mean, the Enigma played perfectly there. He, you know, doesn't really care about using the black hole on one target. That was the Pango with the Rolling Thunder. Just gets that kill. Once some buybacks come in, he just shows up, 3-man black hole. Also love what the Alk did. He's like, nah, I'm not gonna really hit anyone in that black hole. I'm just gonna hit the barracks. And overall, just very nicely played by LBZS. Very few mistakes. Really good draft. Kinda, you know, usually pretty easy to win if you take those 2 boxes. You know, good draft. Don't make mistakes. It's bound to eventually work. And now on the the dire side, I feel like their draft being a little bit harder, being a little bit slower with that PA pick. They still can win, but I would love to see a smoke now. You know, 2 black holes being on cooldown. They still have the golem, by the way, so prime time for them.
Yeah. We do have an Agnum Scepter on the Tusk, so the kick is available. Which that's just even more tools here for LBCS. Now the PA, I believe, went for a basher. Yeah, she went for a basher. Do you feel like it's Divine Rapier time?
Yes.
Like
But
you
you get
gotta
Shard
go
first.
for something big. Yeah.
Shard is like OP on the hero, but after
yeah.
the shard, I really feel like you need to get the Divine Rapier. There's no other item that's really gonna do much for you. The problem is, Rapier is a very expensive item in that PA. You know, as farms as she is, not as close to the Alk that is more than doubling the net worth of the PA. Jesus.
Yeah,
Wait, is that a
Alk
29 or a 39? I can't.
I mean, it's 29, but it's... I mean, he's given an Agnum Scepter out already. Like...
Oh, true. Very true.
That's why the Tusk has 12,000 net worth.
So yeah, he's
There's
close to
another
the
Agnum
Hangar
Scepter that he just finished. Who is he gonna give it to? Who is he gonna give it to?
I think you give it to the Enigma, actually. Or the Razor, because they don't siege that well. Both are fine. He's probably gonna give it to the Razor, but I'm an Enigma player. I want to dream. Oh, come on.
The
Who gets it?
Razor. It is the Razor.
Yeah, it's the safe play.
The safe
Enigma
play.
never gets any love, dude.
Enigma never gets any love, really.
Yes,
As the
it
smoke
doesn't.
coming out here from LBCS, and Razor just gonna walk up onto the high ground, just laundering with that new Agnum Scepter, going for the tier 3. This is BKB. He has a refresher. He has 0 cares in the world. Alchemist is gonna hit onto it as well. That's gonna be the Rolling Thunder coming out, and the toss onto the Razor. Just gonna go straight for the Viper, and the Black Hole gonna be there. It's gonna be cancelled by the Warlock though, and the PA is gonna jump into Refresher. Doesn't get a chance to use the Black Hole BKB anymore, but at the same time the Razor and the Alchemist are just cleaning up Dire's team, and now they dispose the PA, they dispose her out of this game, and we're gonna dispose Young and Galacticos out of the tournament as LBCS looking very strong here.
Yeah, it was very straightforward. They got that Marcy last pick. I think that was very crucial to what they did. That those early engagements, we saw the first blood. It's just like amazing for the Alk. I think that was probably one of the biggest mistakes we saw from the Galacticos. Just going for that level 1 smoke, actually trying to fight against the lineup that LBZS had. I think that was not a good idea. And it just snowballed into the lanes. And with Alk, any other hero, it wouldn't matter that much. But with Alk, that's a hero you really never want to give any edge. They got 4 bounties, right, on Radiant just because of all of those kills. And, I mean, I'm not surprised that things kind of developed the way they did. Also, they played really well. They never really gave any ways out. It's not like the Galacticos didn't try to, like, force any mistakes and stuff. But with Alk, this hero is just kind of broken. So, ideally, don't want to give it away.
Yeah, absolutely, and it really was like the Alchemist's first pick, and then the last pick, Marcy, that brought it all together in that safe lane. I mean, it really was that combination that enabled it for LBCS. And as we're gonna take a quick look at the scoreboard, of course, as well. And who would you be your pick for MVP here in this game?
Let me think. I feel like the one of the supports probably. I think Marcy, like, in the lane, did a lot, but I also feel like the Tusk rotations, he actually canceled a lot of what the Tiny wanted to do in a lot of fights. It never felt like the blink on Tiny felt impactful because the Tusk was always initiating on him. And that's the thing, like, sure, then the Tiny uses the combo on the Tusk, but he's a tanky boy. He doesn't really care. He gets comboed. So I would say that the Tusk did a lot. His rotations were great. We saw some good shard blocks where the PA even died in the laning stage. I would say the Tusk.
Okay, we'll see what production will have to say about the MVP if they agree with you, Bowie. As now LBCS is going to continue their run against their next match will be against the like the winner of the lower bracket of the other side, and we don't know that series there yet. And we have here a quick scoreboard update. We're gonna see here the damage just by that alchemist together with that net worth. Actually, that's not as much damage as I would have thought.
Yeah, man, Alk's just farming, you know. He's not gonna.
True.
He's not gonna bother himself with those peasant things like doing damage. Nah, he just wants the money. He just wants the gold. But looks like Kagome actually gets the MVP. You know, they didn't die a lot, dealt damage. That's what people care about. But I do feel like the Tusk, you know, was the hidden, the unloved singer in that team. But still, I think Kagome played really well. He wasn't even in like an ideal lane, right? Razor versus Pango is not great. The Razor was picked third, I think. So they even got the counter, quote unquote, on that lane, but it didn't matter. Razor just did what he was supposed to. But pretty much everyone on LBZS played really well. So I don't care who gets the MVP.
Absolutely, and our next series will be coming up shortly, but before that we're gonna have a quick little break with some highlights, and we're gonna be back with the next series in a little bit. See you there.
Continuum device. Here all along. I knew Valora was lying when she said Mars destroyed you. Well, where and when should we go first? Huh? Oh, great. What'd you do?
There was a thing in the woods. But once a year, it left the woods to feast on us. Then one year, out of the woods came nothing. Another year passed, and another. Over time, we forgot our fear. And turned our backs on the dark. Slivers of the mad moon hang forgotten in our sky, slowly aligning. It is time again. The tide rises and brings with it something dire.
Don't let this party scene fool you. This world is a dangerous place. When you get to be my age, you'll see friends come and go. It's important to take care of the ones still kicking. In the heat of battle, you'd be surprised how far a little kindness might go. But not everyone deserves kindness.
Hello, Auntie.
This all you brought?
Yes.
Oh. Attaboy! I didn't offer to share.
Any layman with a feeble grip can carve wood or hammer steel. Even the tender hands of a child can grasp a set of instructions. But to create something takes rare hands, shrewder hands, handsome, brilliant hands. The hands that forged the first scepter of power. My hands have slipped through dimensions, touching things that warp the mind and test the mettle of the strongest will. From the far reaches of the astral plane, beyond countless dimensions, monsters, beasts, beasts without legs, beasts that are only legs, heroes that aren't heroes at all. I have brought them here to answer one simple question. Can your hands wield the true Aghanim scepter?
Oi, space face. Crack one. Woo! Ha-ha! Catch you never, Dingleberry. Huh? Munted. Now this I'm into.
There was a thing in the woods. But once a year, it left the woods to feast on us. Then one year, out of the woods came nothing. Another year passed, and another. Over time, we forgot our fear. And turned our backs on the dark. Slivers of the mad moon hang forgotten in our sky, slowly aligning. It is time again. The tide rises and brings with it something dire.
Don't let this pretty scene fool you. This world is a dangerous place. When you get to be my age, you'll see friends come and go. It's important to take care of the ones still kicking. In the heat of battle, You'd be surprised how far a little kindness might go. But not everyone deserves kindness.
Hello, Auntie.
This all you brought?
Yes.
Oh. Attaboy! I didn't offer to share.
Welcome one and all here back to the Top Clans Invitational. We are in for the summer season where we continue to see some of the best up and coming teams within the Asian region competing for a $10,000 prize pool. Today we are now moving into the upper bracket after having witnessed lower bracket rungs. Now it's time for the big matches. Winner of this between Grindski eSports and the side of Team Tsunami will find themselves in the winner bracket final, one step away from the grand finals and guaranteed top 3. It's going to be a very exciting matchup, very important matchup, and to bring you this hype will be myself, Snare, joined by the one and only D2 Bowie. Good sir, how are you doing and how are you feeling about the upcoming games?
I'm doing great, thank you for asking. And I mean, this is the first match I'm casting. I'm sorry, that's the second match I'm casting in the tournament, but I actually not familiar with either Greenski or Green Sky. How do you pronounce it?
Granskaya? I think it's one of those, maybe potato. I don't know.
All right, yeah, I'm going with Greenski. So I'm not familiar with them, but they have pictures. So if they do have pictures, it's definitely because they're the better players. All right, you know, it means that they have the orgs, they have that money behind them, and it's kind of like with Dota Cosmetics. You see that guy with the Dragon Hawk, you know the Dragon Claw, you know that guy's good, right? So I'm going all the way for Greenski here. I'm sure they're going to easily 2-0. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm very excited. I feel like, you know, there's so many regions in this tournament. It's kind of hard to. I was reading like all of the regions that they have, and it was like Japan and Southeast Asia. So I'm actually really happy that we have so many regions participating. I'm kind of envious as well because with South America, even though we're kind of close, the ping difference is weird. Like, you pretty much, it's hard to play tournaments in between these regions.
Dire team back.
Yeah, we already have a draft. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, these teams are also pretty great that they're playing across regions, but they're also getting straight into the hype. I have missed a lot of these sort of non-DPC events where you get to see some of the up-and-coming teams before they participate on the big stages. So pretty good to see them out here. Grindski eSports, like you mentioned, already have themselves some photos. Team Tsunami need to put themselves on the board. However, in this tournament, we've already witnessed underdogs coming up and taking down the bigger contenders. So We'll see if that's going to happen here again today. And like you mentioned, there is a draft. First pick Dawnbreaker for Grindski Esports. They ban out the Ench Wyvern. No Marcy, no Puck. But weirdly enough here, Bowie, Tiny left in the pool, opting for the Dawnbreaker first overall instead.
Oh yeah, I don't mind it, dude. Dawnbreaker is probably one of the strongest heroes of the patch. You know, it can be played in any position. It feels good regardless of where you are. So I'm all down for that Dawnbreaker. But as you said, the Tiny, alongside the Zeus, and this Zeus hero is another one that I think, you know, it's growing very fast, very rapidly, and it's super strong. I do prefer it as a support, but there's also teams that run it as a core. Regardless of where it's going to be, you know it's going to do a lot of damage.
5 seconds remaining.
Yep, does a ton of damage. In this particular game, given that it's likely going to be Tiny support, I would prefer it mid. I don't like Tiny mid with like a Zeus support, but either way, the hero is just super good overall. Interestingly enough, in China, every time I see this Dawnbreaker first pick, you have to ban Nyx Assassin in that region. Literally every team now, as soon as they see Dawnbreaker, you pick Nyx, and half the time it ends up being very successful for you. So interesting that like all across the world, I was talking to Harry Freak about this yesterday, the differences between regions, because when I mentioned this to him, he was like, what, are you insane? Nyx Assassin, why would you even pick that? It's like, yep, regional differences do come up. Another thing that's also much more prevalent in Asia than the rest of the world is the Skywrath mate. We rarely see it elsewhere, but in Asia, it's been all the rage for a while. But normally it's paired with like a DK, some Mars, some kind of easy setup. We even see the DK being banned by Team Tsunami. So what's with the Skywrath mage pick without any of the usual setup?
I think this hero is really good at like solo killing heroes, and this Zeus hero, even though he has that little jump, he can actually just die to Skywrath mage, even if Zeus is core and Sky is support. So it's a support that actually shows up a lot in South America, but doesn't necessarily like I haven't seen it as frequently in Europe or NA. So it's definitely kind of a specialist sort of thing. But one funny thing I want to talk about Skywrath mage, since he is actually aligned with Zeus here in the draft, is that, you know, I think that what they did with Zeus is like they made this hero that is very similar to Skywrath mage, just a lot of burst damage, and they gave him some sort of movement spell, because that's what Dota heroes need right now. And I just keep wondering if Gareth Mage ever also gets into that rework sort of thing, what are they gonna do with him? I want some sort of Icarus dive ability. All right, so you take that slow out, you take the W. He has wings, right? So you're just making him have a 2,000 cast range sort of Icarus dive, where he hovers over people and he slows everyone with his feathers, and
Dude,
then it will be balanced.
Oh my god. He already has 325 movement speed. It's fine. It's more than enough. Besides,
I mean, Zeus has
always run out of
315,
mana.
dude. Zeus is also a really fast hero.
I think the solution would be to take away Heavenly Jump from Zeus. Maybe put it back to... Maybe do what they did with Puck, right? Remember when Puck had that ridiculous Ags that you could buy? Now that they moved it to 25, it's good, but it's not broken anymore. If they did that with Zeus, I'd be okay with it. Move the Heavenly Jump to super late in the game. Maybe give back the static field or something. But giving this hero mobility, I feel, was a mistake. It should never have happened. It's too good. It's too versatile right now.
It is definitely a mistake, but it is a mistake that Valve allowed, which means teams are going to abuse it, and we get a hero on top. So that's definitely going to be core Zeus, right? Unless Tiny is mid. So I guess they have that flex going for them. I mean, I don't think this is particularly a great hero game. So maybe this is just comfort, but it's kind of a tanky boy, which is good versus Gareth Mage. Hero, one of the highest strength gains for any hero in support.
I've seen this sort of theory crafted used in some of the games against the Dawnbreaker, the Jakiro as a response. You drop down Macropyre just before the Soldier Garden comes in. It's sort of similar to what Nyx does with Spy Carapace, where you prevent the thing coming in at all. Here you just threaten the Dawnbreaker. It's like, well, the hero that's being targeted with the Solar Guardian actually has to leave the area, lest you take too much damage before Dawnbreaker comes in, or when Dawnbreaker arrives, there's too much magic damage there pre-BKB. But it does require you to have a lot of other damage as well. Fortunately, they do have it in the Tiny Zeus, but it is a bit all in. The one thing I do like about it is that it at least gives them a little bit of tower pressure. They were lacking that quite a lot beforehand. So there's that. I don't like that they don't have an easy heal for themselves, but what can you do? You made the decision to go for the Jack. And on the side of GS here, they'll just go in Monkey King Wind Ranger. So they stick with the theme of having some flexible heroes. MK can occupy multiple roles. Wind Ranger probably gonna be their pos 5, but could also be pos 2 in this game. So a lot is happening in this game. Nobody really wants to commit to a specific position for their heroes.
Yeah, definitely a lot of flex going on in both sides. The only real thing we know here is that Sky is probably going to be a 4 and Jakira is a 5. Everything else kind of all over the place. And now, what is the last pick here for Team Tsunami? I wouldn't mind seeing something. I feel like right now they definitely don't have enough physical damage, and they don't have a lot of reliable lockdown. Sign if it's a support, it takes a while to get the blink. Jakiro lockdown, it's okay, but usually you want some setup for the stun. So I'd like to see an easy stun, something that just kind of like a balance strike, just allows this Jakiro to land the ice path and take good fights.
How many of these heroes are in the meta right now, these supports? I kind of wish Sven was a good hero. Man, Sven would do so much damage in these laning phases if he was good, but then you pick it and then you realize, wait, we picked Sven, what the hell are we doing? Team Tsunami,
I mean, Alchemist is open, right? Alchemist, tanky boy, doesn't care about... I mean, his level 1 stun is probably the best stun in the game right now. And it is, less peak of second phase, so you can actually ban for your Alk. I wouldn't actually mind that. I just saw an Alk stomp last series. Not sure if you were watching, but it was a very quick one.
I'm hoping for less Alchemist in my life, Bowie, not more. So I want every game I see an Alchemist, I'm always rooting against it. I want Alchemist to lose so that we see less Alk. The same is true of like Pudge as well. Having to concede that these heroes are actually viable and good in the meta right now is a bit too much for my soul to bear. Thankfully, Team Tsunami will go all cookie cutter on us. So they'll pick up this Juggernaut for themselves. This gives them some of that physical damage they were lacking earlier. Some kind of way to lane against the Dawnbreaker because you have some sustain with the healing ward, which is kind of why the hero's back in the meta. Not that great versus the Wind Ranger. A bit susceptible to the Gareth Mage Silence as well, given that you don't always go with that Manta build these days. But at the very least, a bit of a stable carry here. Not much experimentation coming in from Team Tsunami.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a good lane. They don't have that stun yet, but Jakiro Jug, very, very strong. You are against this Gareth Mage that is pretty fast, so that's a hero that they'll maybe struggle to kill. But if the Dawnbreaker is an offlaner, I'm sure that even with the Celestial Hammer, it isn't as easy for her once Jug gets boots. Overall, I do like Jug. I think just like Alchemist is one of those borderline broken heroes of the patch, and they'll just got it at a really good place in the draft here. They'll ban this NP that is usually the bane of her existence.
10 seconds remaining. Dire team ban.
Annoying Root, the level 20 talent. Now they ban Batch Rider. Interesting. So they think, but they also ban the Air Spirit. So they're not sure. They're not sure whether Tiny or Zeus are going to be mid or not.
I like this normally when I see these teams like admitting to themselves that, well, we're not 100% certain of exactly how they're going to stack up. So instead of over-committing on banning one role, we're just going to ban heroes that we don't want to play against. And if I'm playing heroes like Skywrath, Wind Ranger... Oh, no. No. Okay, I thought with the Pudge ban they were going to do some cheese and pick like some Alchemist, but okay, it's fine. Just end this.
So it's a mid-Ember. Offlane Dawnbreaker with the Wind Ranger 5. All right.
10 seconds
okay,
remaining.
That. I don't mind this whatsoever. This Ember hero, pretty good versus mid Zeus actually, just because you have that gap close. But if it's mid Tiny actually kind of slaps on the Ember.
It's not fun. It's a all kind of weird matchup. Ember in general just feels weird to me in this current meta. Like the difference between Ember and like say Puck Void Spirit, the other gap closing mid heroes, it just feels so large. Ember's just like meh in comparison, but this hero, Brewmaster. I am in love with Brewmaster right now. There's this Chinese player from the side of CDC who played this brew that broke my brain. I saw it and I was enthused forever. I was like, in the right hands, this hero is honestly broken and unbeatable. I do not know if Good has those hands for himself on this Brewmaster, but what I do know is that this is a frustrating Brewmaster game for Gransky to play into. Multiple heroes hate being tossed up. You can toss up the Monkey King, just leave the Wukong's command, find a way to just disable the Dawnbreaker from doing anything in these team fights. Not the best amount of lockdown overall, but this gave them some much needed AoE teamfight control in tandem with the Tiny, and it seems like it's going to be a Brewmaster Tiny lane, which seems very, very strong. All right, I'm sure you can sense this hype for Brewmaster. So as a measured voice here, Bowie, put me on. What are the drawbacks of this hero in this draft?
Well, I think the biggest one that I see is the silence on the Gareth mage. That really is what could kill him. But besides the silence, there's not that many, reliable stuns. You have roots on the Ember, but, the Shackle on the Wind Ranger, a little bit hard to land. Dawnbreaker also pretty easy to ult before you get stunned. So overall, I really like the Brew. I think he has 3 amazing dispels here. You can dispel the Flame Guard, the Jingu, as well as the Wind Run. And even just throwing someone into the air in these fights is going to be very impactful. I actually like the Brew pick quite a bit. And I love the hero, but I think, it really needs a specialist and a good game. We definitely have a good game. The question is now if Good's good hands are actually good. So, well, we'll see. I'm very excited, though. I think this hero, usually a last pick hero, I think they did everything right with their draft. Now, who's mid here? Is this Zeus mid or Tiny? Oh, it's Tiny, right? I think Zeus had a ward. Okay.
Tiny has a ward as well, actually. So, but it's a ward that he got gifted. So he's got the bottle queued up as well on the Tiny. So should definitely be the mid Tiny. I mean, you were mentioning it in the draft, right? That in the event that it is a mid Tiny, Tiny does have a much better matchup against the Ember Spirit. And Ember gonna find himself in this position where this Flame Guard doesn't really do all that much for him. And well, that's one of the reasons Ember's fought a bit lackluster. You don't have as many options if you have a poor lane as some of these other heroes, but we will see what Gransky eSports are able to accomplish here in this opening game, because on the other side of Team Tsunami, they want to be able to get this dub. And we have to remember, about winner of this, guaranteed top 3 in the tournament, and will be facing off against M11 in the winner bracket final. So we both like the Brewmaster pick. We both like what they've got. Give me a prediction on, just based on how the drafting went, who do you think is going to take the series? Who's thinking you like more between the 2 teams?
Definitely Tsunami. I actually like their draft a lot more. I think Jug, super strong hero dispatch, very hard to go wrong. I see support Zeus, I smile. I think they, that Ember pick was too much geared towards denying the Zeus to be mid, and I don't think you necessarily want that. You want the Zeus to be mid. I think it's pretty trash. So I really like what they have going there. I feel like if they lose, it's going to be out of sheer outplay coming from Grinsky, which, we talked about this. They have the pictures, so very, it could happen. But if it is actually Tsunami here, oh, well, as I kind of hyped them up, they just feed her squad. Okay.
Well, that was them with the picture play. The Brewmaster came to just check his face on the high ground, see if there was an observer ward. It's worse than there being an observer ward. The whole team is waiting for him. They're like, you want vision, buddy? You got it. They run him down and get that first blood. It is the Brewmaster dying, though. I think one of the other reasons I love this hero is I've literally seen this hero feed like 3-4 deaths in the first 10 minutes. Then you get level 7, pop the first split, kill a core hero, and it doesn't matter anyway. So if there's any hero that's going to die early on and feed this kind of death, you're okay with it being the Brewmaster.
I guess. I wouldn't go that far, but who actually... Oh, it was the Emperor. That's pretty good for him.
That's pretty good.
Okay. He's very close to his bottom now. Definitely dream start here for Lewis. So we'll see what happens. Now, if we check the lanes, it's a Jugger Jakiro, which I actually think is a very powerful lane against a Gareth Mage Dawnbreaker. There's a lot of damage there as well, so it really can go both ways. But this mid lane, I think it's just going to be a farm fest, 2 overall pretty tanky boys. I don't think we should expect too much out of this lane. Now we see the Monkey King. Oh, Sky's bottom, actually. Interesting. So they just wanted the Wind Ranger. Okay, I guess they feared that the Sky could die to the spin, and the Wind Ranger at least has a way out.
I suspect the thinking might have been as well that usually when you play these sky lanes, you're spamming out a lot in the early phases, and against Juggernaut, that spam is really difficult to justify because he just pops healing ward at some point. You always run out of mana before he runs out of heal potential. So the harass potential probably makes a bit more sense down bottom. And with Wind Ranger, like you're mentioning, there's risk of Scarlet Mage dying if you ever do find yourself in a poor position. But once you hit level 2 on Wind Ranger, realistically, you shouldn't actually die in this lane no matter what. So safety at the end of the day is the thinking. And down bottom, they find themselves matched up against this Brewmaster Zeus lane. Not as strong in principle as like a tiny Brewmaster. But what do you make of this? Who do you think is going to come out on top in this bottom lane?
Times are hard.
I think you can definitely go both ways. Whoever gets level 2 here has a huge advantage. You know, there's no boundless on the Monkey King, so once he gets 2, you actually have a lot of burst damage coming out from him and the Sky. But pretty much the same is true for Tsunami. So it really is kind of a skill lane, base lane. I feel like a lot can happen there. Now going back to this mid lane, I think this Ember, you know, usually the problem with this hero is that you kind of want to get a Maelstrom because he uses the item so well. But you also sometimes you're forced into a BKB. You can't really farm that much. I think that First Blood, you know, might not look as much, but could be the difference maker in allowing this Ember to still get the Maelstrom without feeling scared for his life. Because even though there's a lot of burst damage on the side of Tsunami, a lot of the damage is kind of hard to land into an Ember, right? Sure, you have the Avatars and the Tiny, but besides that, it's only really the Zeus ult that can follow up that. You know, the Brew kind of is slow to follow up. The Jakiro has to be smoked. Speaking of him, he just die-stopped. So very nicely done there by the Radiant again. And the Zeus, pretty low in HP, probably has to go back base.
Comes a dangerous moment for him to leave though, because now that they have been able to crack that level 2 mark on the Scarlet Mage as well as the Monkey King, getting level 3, suddenly if Zeus leaves, then Good has to play a little bit further back. They're actually playing aggressively into the Zeus. Marvis falling very, very low, having to get himself away to safety. Had he gone a little bit further back, he probably would have died there. Akashi had access yet again to the Bounter Strike. But like you mentioned, it's been a lot of harass down bottom. Very, very close margins in terms of who gets close to dying. Marvis is always so close. He might actually tick out now. And finally, Grimm's able to get the kill. Zeus overplaying his hand a little bit there. Didn't jar the tangle before coming back to the lane and gets punished for it pretty hard.
Yeah, it was a really tough scenario. As I said, if he left the lane, it's scary because the lane was also pushed. So the Brewmaster didn't really have any creep equilibrium. I do like this TP though, just to refill Tiny's bottom. And now Zeus can run back to his lane. He's a pretty fast hero. I also like this Jakiro rotation. Very good denying the rune. If they can get a stun right now. No ice path.
Don't need it. Okay. No ice path, no problem, Bowie. They got it. It's fine. Lewis is dead. And there's some of the advantage he'd gained from the First Blood eroding, because not only do they kill him, Marvis immediately gets the D1 on the high ground as well.
Very, very nice. This is the type of play they need. I think this game, it really kind of rests on the Tiny, at least the early parts of that game, because, Tsunami Pakas.
Though, this top lane, Pakas. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, if anybody at home wanted to know whether this is Pakas from South America, I think that's probably the confirmation that it isn't. Because that was awkward positioning there, Bowie. Apollo ends up helping out to get that kill. They might actually double it up. They get the power shot, shackle shot combination out onto the Jakiro.
Oh, no.
Starbreaker to follow it up from JWL. And they have found a second. The top lane in shambles right now for Soon Tsunami, losing both the Jug and the Jakiro.
Yeah, struggle town here for them. The First Blood definitely helping the mid lane. And okay, yeah, he spins, but it's only to really clear up the wave. Not the greatest usage of the spell right now. Zeus actually taking a lot of damage. Gets the little boop out. Look what Ice Proc did to that hero. He'd probably be dead without that spell.
For me, I think the move is fine. The movement slow is kind of problematic. But we've been talking about this. What happens if he's forced to vacate this lane? Suddenly Good is all alone, and Good does not have any defenses available against this two-hero duo. Ends up losing his life, and it's Akashi that claims that kill on the Monkey King. That is the worst possible case scenario.
Yeah, you know what they could do? They could give Brewmaster a jump as well, so that he wouldn't die, right?
Oh my god.
What if he got a little, you know, he just juggles all of his things and he jumps and then he picks them up, kind of like a trick.
Alright, production, anytime that Bowie's mentioning changelog ideas, please mute him, because it's gonna ruin the game for all of us.
Ruin the game, Zeus, dude. Zeus is owning because of those changes. But anyways, yeah, in all seriousness here, it is definitely a rough start here for Tsunami. I still feel like their draft is a little bit better. So once this jug gets up, I mean, he dies, but that might be a struggle.
Definitely gonna die here. Found himself getting caught by the first big usage of the shackle shot on top of him instead of on the Jakiro. Tries to spin his way to safety, but it's not going to help out. That is a huge kill to give away here, especially because normally when you end up dying the second time around in these carry situations as a Juggernaut, normally it's when the mid hero makes a rotation, but Lewis got to still stay mid and his lane is being won on the other side of the map, so he gets to recover some of the advantage that he lost from dying out, so it doesn't feel as bad, everything that's been happening elsewhere. That was not supposed to happen, Bowie, but now that it has, Juggernaut feeling very under pressure. Look how much net worth he is behind this Dawnbreaker right now.
Yeah, for sure. I really felt like the Jakiro jug lane would be strong. The fact that they actually sent the Wind Ranger did kind of change things a little bit, because that hero is a little bit harder to kill. But even still, kind of odd that he panned out that way. And now the Brewmaster is going to be taken down by that beautiful OT from the Dawnbreaker.
Doesn't have mana though, so they might not be able to catch on to Marvis unless Marvis makes the turn, and indeed he does, but there is support coming in from the mid Tiny, so they aren't going to feel compelled to keep this chase on. Nice observer were propped down in the jungle that gave them the vision of that rotation from the Tiny and in the river, so they knew exactly what was up. Might try and kill Lewis for this, but they recognize that he is now level 7. The threat level that Tiny had atop him, not really there anymore until they get more damage coming in from the other heroes on the map.
Now look at this, Lewis. Prime time for him, has the Arbor Corrosion, drops a couple of wards. I think that's gonna be scouted though from the sentry. Maybe it's in max range there, but either way, this Ember, now he can wreak havoc. He had a really good lane. Even after that death, he's like highest, has more net worth than any of the cores inside of Tsunami. And he maybe can't really kill the jug, but he can annoy everyone else. I feel like what they need right now, like the blink on Tiny is still gonna take a while, so they need to play around this Brewmaster OT when he comes online. The problem is Monkey King is level 8 and Brewmaster doesn't even have his OT. Like, can you actually kill this guy even if you pop OT and rotate supports? Maybe not.
Not until 6 on Zeus, and unfortunately Marvis is level 3 right now. Very far away from having the requisite levels. He's not having a good time, man. It's been rough. This is the one drawback of them changing up and putting this Tiny mid. Brewmaster though, also gonna end up losing out on levels because he loses his life down bottom. The first Wukongs of the game committed on top of him. They got the Jakiro kill up top as well, utilizing the shackle shot coming in from this Wind Ranger. So 2 heroes falling all across the map. Man, Gritsky eSports right now are just super far ahead of this game here, Bowie.
It's in the pictures, dude. I told you. When you actually get the pictures done, your MMR just goes up by so much. You had no idea. Maybe I should actually get some pics taken, because maybe that's how you get your AK, you know? Just,
There we go. Bowie eSports coming soon, everybody.
Bowie Pakaz coming soon. I actually love that he has Pakaz in the name, dude. You know, Pakaz making waves everywhere. Pretty cool. Tiny though, is he making waves?
Nope, he's just making pebbles because he's gonna get himself taken down here in this mid lane. Jakiro next to follow this up. Dawnbreaker, certainly the hero that's making waves though. This hero was just top and will just TP back top like nothing happened. This is the most ridiculous thing, honestly, about this hero. You get to show up to a fight, be super impactful, and then still go back, not even miss a creep wave? What the hell is this? Balance is not in their favor for Team Tsunami, as Dawnbreaker showing up. A lot is happening on this map, and none of it is favoring Team Tsunami right now. How do they come back into this one, Bowie?
I really feel like they have to either force bottom, which feels like it is what they're doing right now, or they have to smoke with that Brewmaster OT. They have to use that spell. It's the only thing, like the only impactful thing they have going at this exact moment. They're trying to defend mid. I don't even think they're gonna get it. They have to deny that tower.
Master
in
might
bottom.
die though.
Oh,
Shackle shot, Mystic Flare. Well, you can't help create space on the map if you're the one that's giving away said space with your life. Regrettable. They lose Brewmaster and they lose the tier 1 middle because they can't bring back anybody to defend it. This is a disaster.
Yeah,
and to make
that's
matters
the
worse,
problem. I think they had to bring the Brewmaster mid to use that OT. I feel like, you know, they know that they're behind and they're splitting resources. So that's not going to be the ideal way of ever winning a fight.
Game is hard. Pakaz, he's going to actually be the first beneficiary of this Brewmaster rotation as they want to try and bring down JWL on the Dawnbreaker. Selly Hammer goes forward. There we go. No escape potential, but he misses the Cinder Brew. Oh, no. That's not what you wanted. Unfortunately, because of that, it's going to be a very easy TP out from the Dawnbreaker. So first rotation goes very, very sour for the side of Team Tsunami. They're still going to smoke up, though. They're not done just yet. They want to try and find something. Mad Maid gets the Avalanche toss out onto Apollo. Ice Path missing from WMN. They still gonna look for this kill, but here comes Mad Maid. Fresh off of not dying, showing up with the Solar Guardian, protecting Lewis and assisting with getting the kill onto Mad Maid. It is a 1-1 trade, but the one they've gotten for Team Tsunami is a support. The one they've given up is a core. Will they at least get good out of this fight? The Storm Panda and the Brewmaster, he's fine. Should be okay. Stuff down the Cinder Brew. Oh, I say that. Gets caught inside the steering chains, but Grimm's out of mana. Can't keep the chase going. Awful, awful fight. That was not supposed to happen. And that was off the back of a smoke, Bowie. They thought they were going to get a fight that was favorable for them. But yet again, another bad trade for the side of Team Tsunami.
Yeah, they're lacking levels. Also, the execution wasn't really crisp, right? They missed the Ice Path into the Eva toss. So the Wind Ranger lives way more because of Dawnbreaker OT. Once the Brewmaster pops his OT, more heroes come in. It really felt like it took too long to lift someone into the air, so they were also doing a lot of damage. It feels like this, you know, the laning stage definitely kind of got to them. I don't feel like they're executing their heroes the best they could have.
It's often the difference between these teams that are on the come up and the teams that are already on is being able to deal with the disappointment of a very poor laning phase. Things have not gone according to plan for Team Tsunami, so they'll need to marshal themselves and figure out how to keep things going strong for the latter portion of this game. Pakaz doing his best right now to just keep farming on the Juggernaut, falling very low. I'm presuming he's farming Ancients. How much HP is 100 HP? Almost died there, but he's going to be okay. In the meantime, they're giving some priority to these supports. I think they recognize that they can't actually have under-level supports with also 0 items. Like Jakiro, Zeus. Jakiro just needs levels, but Zeus certainly needs items. Speaking of Jakiro, gonna get jumped on by Lewis. Lewis, will he be able to find this kill? Not just yet. There's salvation provided by Good. Lewis slowed up right now. Marvis there as well. Do they have this damage for the Ember Spirit? No, they don't, because Tiny's not here to provide the lockdown. And the Zeus will be able to just walk away, but so does the Ember Spirit. At the same time, Pakar's getting jumped on. Oh no! They found him in the jungle. Grimm's opened him up with the silence. We spoke about this in the draft. You actually have no defense as Juggernaut to Ancient Seal. If that ever lands on you, you will die every single time.
Yeah, and I mean, you say that the Jakiro only needs levels. He is level 5, so he definitely needs levels. I feel like even that fight that we saw where he smoked, if he had Macropire, it could have been a little bit different. We could have seen, you know, more heroes dying. It is definitely struggle town for them. I really feel like they have to smoke behind his Brewmaster OT and the blink on Tiny now, because they definitely finished that off. There's even an Arcane rune. Overall, the rune controlled Tsunami also kind of suffered because their lanes did very poorly. But now this could be prime time. They find this guy with the Ice Path. Do they have the damage? And they do.
Woo! Just barely though.
That's perfect.
Just barely.
Yeah. This is the lowest farm core, by the way. So, oh, if they can find another one, that Arcane Rune Tiny is very pog.
Okay, follow. Definitely gonna die. It's well, there we go. You wanted levels on Jakiro. A double kill will help. Yes, some free experience.
You also want golden experience on other heroes, but you know, beggars can be choosers. You're just happy you got a couple of kills. You doubled the amount of kills you had. So this is certainly going to help. If they can get this tier 1 tower bottom, that's even better. They have everyone but Pakaz bottom, but they're not forcing that. It feels like they want to grab this Monkey King, but that's not an easy kill.
Is under attack.
Still got a Siege Dragon down bottom, so they're probably going to rely on that and the Brewmaster to finish this off. It probably helps them as well that they didn't have to commit the split for that one, so they feel a bit safe leaving Brew close to alone right now, not worrying too much about the situation. But they certainly needed those kill. They got another rune, yeah. Got a haste on the Tiny. Lewis, don't be cocky, my friend. Ice Path will be there. Let's see if they're going to jump him. They don't have the Thunder God's Wrath, so they lack the damage from this Zeus hero. But they might decide to go on a different target here. Who else is viable to jump on the Tiny with this haste rune?
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I think he has to be... Like, the Dawnbreaker definitely lives because she's tanky and has the OT. So it has to be either Monkey or an Ember, but you need to have the Jakiro. And that's the problem. Usually with haste, you just you're too fast for the Jakiro to keep the pace up. But yeah, it doesn't really feel like they're gonna get any kills right now. They'll just control the bottom side of the map, which is fine. The Jug also kind of joins them in. He definitely died. He needs that Manta before he feels safe walking around the map. So I think I really like what Tsunami is doing. We kind of felt like they were struggling into really playing with the disadvantageous lane, but now they're picking their pieces up. They are definitely making some good moves, but the smoke ruined it all.
Smoke on smoke action. First victim of this is going to be Apollo, dying on the Wind Ranger. Now, very nice usage of the steering chains from Lewis. Two heroes caught out into this. Here comes WNN. They're going to be a solo Guardian from JWL as well, but more damage from the Dawnbreaker than there is from the Jakiro. Spin from Pakaz will bring down the Dawnbreaker as well, though. And we didn't see any utilization of the Wukong's commander. Kashi couldn't really assist in this fight. Will now try and stay safe atop this high ground on the tree, just chilling. They did end up losing Tiny, but 2 for 3, you'll take that. Ultimately, it was them finding the favorable initiation, and they're the ones that are going to walk away with the prizes. Team Tsunami still staying strong, and they might get Lewis here. Needs to be careful. Wukong's also committed. Pakaz, oh no, he got shackle shotted. Apollo gets his revenge upon respawning, and now they're going to be able to find good as well on the other side of the river. This should not have happened. Team Tsunami took a great fight, but the retreat, super sus here, Bowie, and they end up paying the price.
Yeah, I really want to check the Juggernaut skill build because I feel like Juggernauts, when they are against this sort of burst damage lineup, where like you can get Shackle Shot from Fog, you can get Silence, you see them actually getting a lot of points in stats. So you would see like only 1 point in crit, sometimes even not even maxing the healing ward, so you can survive situations like that one. And I have a feeling he didn't really do that. And that burst damage, especially... He has 1 point in stats. Yeah, usually like you would see 3, 4, even 5 points, because it really is the difference maker. You don't want to go like Sanj on a hero like Jug. There's not a lot of HP items he builds in the start of the game, and oh, they actually leave the pit. They just dive into Spur Brewmaster here.
Good is about to lose his life. Mystic Flare, not going to be enough damage to bring him down. The Shackle Shot, oh, he doesn't tick out, somehow surviving on less than 200 HP. But he will stay living. He just finished his Aghanim Scepter right before this engagement, so that probably gave him the bonus tankiness he needed to survive that fray. Otherwise, he's 100% dead, but as it stands right now, he stays living, gets to retreat, and it makes it a bit more difficult for them to push into the tier 2 tower, because they did have to commit quite a bit of mana for that jump, so they're not feeling super ready for an upcoming fight.
That Axe is huge, actually. It's what makes this Brewmaster hero an actual hero. The fact that he lost that lane kind of delayed the Axe, but still decent timing, all things considered. We also see that Pakaz is getting pretty close to that Manta we talked about. So considering there's not that much push coming from the heroes on the Radiant side, I could still see Tsunami taking this game, because they're definitely going for the right items, and you know there is definitely pressure, but I don't think it's gonna come too fast unless a huge mistake is done by Tsunami, which overall, you know, they're definitely making some right moves, getting some kills, getting some breathing room moving forward.
Tiny building into an Echo Saber. Would love to see him finish off that BKB at some point. And speaking of BKBs, Ember does have one, so even though he had a bit of a good start, still felt compelled to get this as his first item. Might end up hurting his progression. Does mean that this upcoming fight that they take, where he reveals his BKB in an engagement, is of utmost importance. They cannot afford to end up losing that fight. Need to dominate it pretty hard. And Akashi as well, starting to get up in the farm. But this is a bit of an atypical build here for the Monkey King. Manta Maelstrom. on Monkey King instead of the Echo Maelstrom. Talk to me about this, Bowie. Where does the thinking behind this one come from?
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Yeah, I am not a big fan. I think there's definitely value in Manta. Usually there's always value in Manta, but there's a lot of actual burst damage on the side of Tsunami. I feel like a BKB could be very beneficial, and I am not a big fan of Manta BKB in a lot of heroes, Monkey King being one of them. Zeus, though, gets silenced, gets bursted down. 2 heroes from Tsunami already down here.
Damn Gale Force, man. Silly spell on the second shot on Apollo. Dragging back Zeus. But hey, there's the answer. All right, it's either we give every single hero in the game some bonus mobility in the heavenly jump, or we give everybody some AoE catch, like Wind Ranger has. Awesome. That is the balance fix that we need. Apollo showing us
the Wind Ranger one,
Rock.
like Wind Ranger is at least a shard, and it's actually like it really fits the lore of the hero. I actually love the shard on her, but the jump on Zeus feels so lazy, right? It's a level 1 freaking spell. I think it was much better as a shard than it is as an actual skill.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
No, I'm
The
all
problem is
down
that feels
for.
also really good.
I mean, it is. It definitely is. But oh, hello. That is
Another thing that's really
Brewmaster
good
OT.
is the Solar Guardian. They come in. Brewmaster Ultimate is there as well from Good. They're going on to Akashi. He finally triggers out the Wukong's command. They spin away from him with Pakaz. The discipline from Team Tsunami as they vacate the Wukongs. Akashi forced to jump away from his own arena.
Dire's top tower
Now trying to leave the fight writ large. Half HP for the Monkey King. Not much catch available from Team Tsunami. Tidy jumping forward. Will catch out the Dawnbreaker. Doesn't get the toss back though. Misses the spell. Brewmaster goes in with the second ultimate as the Gale Force pushes back the Zeus. They are able to find that kill with Lewis and Akashi. Akashi though getting controlled, stun locked by the Brewmaster as they toss up Lewis as well. Here comes Madmaid, and they will be able to get the first kill onto this Monkey King at the very least. Where's Pakaz? He's only stashing about. Trying to survive this, spinning, trying to get away from this fight. Will the TP come out in time? Yes, it will. Won't be brought down. Madmaid, 5 seconds until he can blink, but he will be denied by Lewis. And JWL finishes him off with a big hit from the Desolator. This fight, though, seemingly not even over just yet because Akashi was thinking about jumping deeper into the base, but his team says, hey man, there's a tier 2 tower we can take instead. The fight will end here. 3 for 2. But some surprising 3 for 2 because one of those lives isn't Aegis. You'd assume that with the gold and the Aegis advantage, Gransky Esports would win that fight, but turns out not to be the case here. They end up practically drawing with Team Tsunami.
He's that Brewmaster OT. It's so annoying. Like, he keeps dispelling the Jingu on the Monkey King. We talked about like how impactful that item can be. And now Pakaz also having that shard just makes it much easier for him to engage, disengage. Mid lane though, can they get the brew? They can indeed.
One of the few times that they catch him without actually having a primal split charge available. They got the silence out very quickly from the Gareth mage. That leads them into getting a kill.
That Tiny, did you check his item build? He went for...
Wait, what? Mage Slayer.
Yeah, I am not sure about that. Like, I get it. There's a lot of magic damage. Oh, you're very low. Gets the ice path as he dies.
Coming in with multiple heroes. They want to fight this. Pakaz is here as well, spinning forward, but needs to be careful. There's Solar Guardian that comes in. Now suddenly he's vulnerable to a Shackle Shot. It will not connect flush. Tiny doesn't have a BKB. Only has his Mage Slayer, so cannot resist the attack coming into his face. Zeus dies as well on the high ground. Pakaz, no more spin available. Shackle Shot will connect very slightly. There's finally the spin coming out. And they'll let him go with 100 HP going back into the base. Good. Respawning here with the Brewmaster, getting off the first split. This time around, we'll only have the one though, so it needs to be very impactful with how he utilizes it. Tossed up the Ember, trying to find easier targets on the backlines. None of them are really forthcoming. They're all just so fast. Gareth made flapping away, but will eventually die. But Good might pay for this with his life. BKB activated right now by JWL, turning around with the Desolator hits. They should have the damage. Gale Force preventing the escape, and Good has no choice but to succumb to this oncoming damage and will end up falling. Another fight won by Gransky Esports. This time around, though, a little bit unforced. Team Tsunami insisted on that fight, but I don't know why. They certainly bit off much more than they could chew.
Oh, definitely. I think You know, the Brewmaster OT is such an important and scarce resource that they have, and just popping that for a Skywrath Mage kill is not ideal. Like, ideally, they want to have two and take a really big fight to be able to contest Roche, possibly. So I do hope that they kind of chill for now, wait for these bigger items. You know, this tiny, this Mage Slayer just feels very underwhelming. I'm not gonna lie. We were talking about Echo, right, in BKB. There's no real like follow-up item that he can get that really changes things. He has 4 staff queued up, which sure does something, but he's gonna feel so weak, right? The entire time. It feels like he's playing +4 right now.
If you'd actually just showed me the scrolls pre him finishing the mage there and asked me which role the Tiny was playing, I would certainly say either like support or offlane. I would never imagine this was a mid Tiny. It'll also interest you to learn, Bowie. This is only the 8th Mage Slayer in all time on a Tiny. Like, this is only 8. And most of those, I imagine, found themselves being upgraded very quickly.
Yeah. For a Blowthorn, definitely, you know, Blowthorn is great later on, but I don't think he really has the resources to get that Blowthorn right now. So, for a long time, it really will only be a Mage Slayer. Not the most impactful item this game. He's just trying to survive, which I get, but sometimes offensive is the best defense. And he's not gonna survive, even with that Mage Slayer, because they know exactly where he is. Oh!
They're gonna catch him. Oh, but he TP's out. Nice. Nice. So does manage to escape away. They might catch the Ember Spirit off the back of this, but unfortunately, because it's the Tiny that TP'd home, he's not available to provide the Avalanche. JWL, though, might find himself having Solar Guardian for nothing, jumping into the damage. Pakaz getting off the Omni Splash, but it's not enough damage to get the kill. Now there's a Shackle Shot onto Pakaz himself. He's watched the Kiro die, and now has to join him inside the fountain. Man, this combination of Apollo, the Skywrath Mage, and JWL's Dawnbreaker has been awful for the Juggernaut, and Apollo continuing to show off with a 2-hero Shackle Shot, catching both Good and Mad Maid. Both of them will end up falling, and this should be it. Akashi with an Ultra kill, Grinsky eSports with a team fight win, and Tsunami with the GG call. It is Grinsky who take game number 1, making a strong case for inclusion into the winner bracket fight.
Yeah, definitely a strong case. I think this was, this was just a sheer outplay. I think the dress were overall equal, but Grinsky overall just played their lanes better. I think they made really good rotations. The item choices on their side were pretty good. There were definitely moments where you could see that maybe a turnaround could happen, but they rose really well. The Monkey King, I don't like the Manta, but I also like the fact that the Ember went BKB early, because that allowed the front-lining hero to be him instead of the Monkey King, and he did a really good job. I think that Ember really carried this game. Obviously, he got first blood, and he made it count. You know, sometimes you see players getting first blood, and they kind of throw away the advantage. He never really let go. So I would say he was probably the MVP for me this match. And hoping for a draft, you know, we love the Brewmaster during the draft, but it's still really risky, and I think the lane swap that they did with the supports really kind of hurt that Brewmaster. Also doesn't help he feeds first blood, so kind of the hero that couldn't really give any advantage away. Fed first blood didn't really help, but hoping to see maybe a different draft, maybe something a little bit less risky coming from Tsunami next match.
Could certainly see the rationale that Team Tsunami was going for here, but unfortunately it did end up being the case that they weren't able to match the execution behind the ideas of the draft. But this is not something that they are the only team to have fallen prey to. Time after time within the Dota world, we see it where we say, well, it's a very execution heavy draft. And Dota's a very hard game, and unfortunately Team Tsunami fall prey to that difficulty. Game 2, hopefully they do simplify it, because like you said, there were several glimmers of hope. Unfortunately, I think one thing they need to address as well is going to be that safe lane. Juggernaut just didn't have a game at all. From jump, he got demolished in the laning phase. He was forced to spend a lot of the game just like playing in recovery, but Juggernaut is not the kind of hero that you want to be 2, 3, 4, 5k net worth behind your opposing carry. At that point, we just see all these Omni Slashes come out, no one dies, and he's just chilling. It's like, well, now what? I can't really do anything from this position. So game number 2, I need somebody that can fight through these BKBs. I need somebody that can stop a hero like the Monkey King. That's one thing they didn't have. They didn't have like a Primal Roar, a Bane, Fiend's Grip. Look how easy this Monkey King's game was. 14-0-5. top net worth, top damage, or second most damage in the game itself. That is a perfect Monkey King performance from him. Ember Spirit, you sort of expect to be dishing out quite a lot of damage. Like you mentioned, he didn't let up from the advantage given to him from that first blood. However, there comes a phase in the game where Ember falls off. Monkey King is supposed to pick up, and by God, did Akashi do that this game.
Yeah, we also talked about the lack of stuns, right? I kind of talked about having that follow-up for the Tiny, because the Jakiro could really struggle to follow up the Tiny. And the Brew, I don't think is the ideal here for that. I like the Brew, by itself in general. But if they had something like a Mars or a Tidehunter that could jump with the Tiny, then maybe it would have been easier for them to get some of those fights going and also allow the Omni Slash to be more impactful. So in a way, maybe the Tiny and the Brewmaster together kind of didn't really help. So we're going to a break, but we will have next match soon, right?
Yeah, we're going to have the next match coming up very shortly. See you soon.
Continuum device. Here all along. I knew Valora was lying when she said Mars destroyed you. Well, where and when should we go first? Huh? Oh, great. What'd you do?
There was a thing in the woods. But once a year, it left the woods to feast on us. Then one year, out of the woods came nothing. Another year passed, and another. Over time, we forgot our fear. And turned our backs on the dark. Slivers of the mad moon hang forgotten in our sky, slowly aligning. It is time again. The tide rises and brings with it something dire.
let this pretty scene fool you. This world is a dangerous place. When you get to be my age, you'll see friends come and go. It's important to take care of the ones still kicking. In the heat of battle, you'd be surprised how far a little kindness might go. But not everyone deserves kindness.
Hello, Auntie.
This all you brought?
Yes.
Oh. Attaboy! I didn't offer to share.
Any layman with a feeble grip can carve wood or hammer steel. Even the tender hands of a child can grasp a set of instructions. But to create something takes rare hands, shrewder hands, handsome, brilliant hands. The hands that forged the first scepter of power. My hands have slipped through dimensions, touching things that warp the mind and test the mettle of the strongest will. From the far reaches of the astral plane, beyond countless dimensions, monsters, beasts, beasts without legs, beasts that are only legs, heroes that aren't heroes at all. I have brought them here to answer one simple question. Can your hands wield the true Aghanim scepter?
Wanted. Now this I'm into.
A continuum device. Here all along. I knew Valora was lying when she said Mars destroyed you. Well, where and when should we go first? Huh? Oh, great. What'd you do?
Welcome one and all back here to the Top Clans Invitational. We are in for our summer season of 2022. We are in for a very important best of 3 matchup between Grindski Esports and Team Tsunami. The winner of this will find themselves going very far up the totem pole of all these up and coming teams in Asia and find themselves top 3 guaranteed, occupying the winner bracket final up against M11. As it stands right now, it is Grindski Esports that is all set to find themselves in those winner bracket finals. And it's up to Team Tsunami to make a case of why they belong there with a strong showing here in game number 2. And to find out whether or not that's going to be happening will be myself, joined by the brilliant Brazilian D2 Bowie. Fam, how are you feeling? What are the odds of Team Tsunami coming back in this one?
I mean, they're definitely there. I felt like, at least in game 1, maybe due to the draft, that Grindski played a much easier game, but you know, drafts can actually make games look very, very stompy. So if Tsunami, I feel like at the end of the day, they went for that Brewmaster, and I was like, all right, they have this very great specialist player. I was not that impressed by the Brewmaster. So if they can pick something else that is more comfort, I could see, like, it was a great Brewmaster game, but unfortunately, I feel like with Grindski playing as well as they did, and also the fact that the performance wasn't great, if they can get a different hero, a more simple hero, we could see a much even match, and maybe Tsunami taking game 2 towards a game 3, which would be pretty hype, not gonna lie. But this Marcy being picked up on the side of Grindski already gives me chills, dude. This hero is it's up there in one of the strongest heroes of the patch. They do take the Downbreaker away on the side of Tsunami, and that is something I really like. It's always such a impactful hero. So if you cannot first pick it, make sure you ban it.
Yep. Ban it and/or have a response available immediately for it. Unfortunately, even though it was first picked by Grindski Esports in game 1, Team Tsunami did not have a reasonable response to muster against it. They have second pick again 2 games in a row, and oh snap! All right, y'all have to know about this. D2 Bowie is a genius. When we were off air discussing what kind of heroes we might see from the off lane for Team Tsunami, he was saying that just pick this guy Mars, and indeed that is what ends up transpiring here. Good Mars pick emerging. The question is, what are they going to combo this into for the lane? Still have Snapfire in this game, instead of Phoenix in this game. Lots of options to make this Mars look a lot better. Hell, they could even just pick Tiny again. It might not be the most like easy lane to pull off, like execution wise, but it's still very strong having Mars, Tiny, and I think just pause for Tiny is still so good. You don't want to take the chance that Grindski Esports have Marcy and Tiny in the same draft.
Skywrath Mage.
Oh, and they still the Skywrath Mage. That is a really good adaptation. No, sure, they're lacking stuns, but overall, I like this a lot. Sure, the Mars could also be flexing towards the mid lane, but I still much bigger fan of this. They actually have a lot of burst damage. It definitely felt like, even though the Tiny got the Blink Dagger in game 1,
5
that the
seconds
supports
remaining.
they had weren't fit to really play together and just kill people. Now I
Radiant
look at Mars
team
Gareth
back.
Mage, I see a lot of potential. Oh, but they responded. Very nice one.
Okay, haven't seen a lot of Pugna this patch as much as we used to in the last patch, thank God. As a support player, I'm just glad to be able to play different things these days. So Pugna coming into Vogue here will be providing some damage mitigation,
seconds
providing some
remaining.
lane prowess, providing some additional heal
Dire
sustain later
team
on in the
back.
game. Between the sidekick and the Pugna drain, they've got quite a bit of sustain going for themselves here on Gransky Esports. So I would love for Team Tsunami to either match them in sustain or find some kind of way to involve a Spirit Vessel builder on their side of the map. Treant banned from Gransky. They see that, all right, we might actually
10
be going for a bit more
seconds
tempo here. Obviously, Pugna can help push down some of these towers, but we could still have some
5
space for like
seconds
Nature's Prophet.
remaining.
Team Tsunami banned it third phase in game number 1, so must be something that Gransky might have in the back pocket. And that plus Pugna, that would be a scary amount of tempo from Gransky Esports.
For sure.
Radiant team
I'm trying to
back.
think here which carries they're gonna ban for Tsunami, because sometimes, like when you see Mars, especially in this patch where Lifestealer and Jug are definitely making a comeback, I wonder if that's a hero that Tsunami, if they'll third pick the Jug here just to deny that away from Grinsky.
10
So you
seconds
could maybe
remaining.
ban the Lifestealer, pick Jug. It definitely feels like they like the hero.
5
And it's
seconds
not like
remaining.
it's a bad Jug game already. The Pugna, the Crapify used to be really good versus Jug, but now with the Blade Fury being such an impactful part of Jug, even if you are the Crapify, you can still die.
Super hype. I mean, you can get rid of the ward in that situation as well while you're spinning it down. Make life very difficult for the Pug. Team Tsunami ban away the Akashi Monkey King. They have seen it once. They do not want to see it again. I'll be honest, I do not like Gareth Mage this early in the draft. I suppose if you are going to pick it, I'd rather have it later. But at the very least, it does make it more difficult for Gransky Esports to ban against them. And it secures a direct, very strong lane with the small Gareth Mage. The question is, though, are they going to get themselves any kind of BKB piercing damage or disable? So far, that is not the case. They do have some physical damage, though, with the Smas. And look at this. Look how much higher the priority is on banning the Nature's Prophet. Up from phase 3 in the first game, now they're like, nah. Take it out faster. We're not going to give you that degree of tempo against what we've got right now.
Yeah, that feels like they definitely have Nature's Prophet spammer on the other side. So overall, feels like Tsunami, they know their opponents well. They did a little bit of research, which is always nice to see. Now they bend the Bristle back. That's definitely a strong hero dispatch. Maybe something that Tsunami likes playing as well. So I never will be mad at Bristleback being banned. And now Tsunami, I still worry for the Lifestealer / Jug we were talking about. I feel like Lifestealer that has the life drain always feels very hard, especially if you have that Nether Ward going, mitigating all of the damage that's going to be dealt to that guy. But maybe I'm just overthinking here, and they'll get something else.
Dire team pick.
Let us see what they do. Pango getting banned. Interesting. Okay. Don't see this hero being banned as much these days. Gets picked often, but not as much in the ban department. So we'll have to see what they were afraid of playing it into. I mean, they do have the Mars. It's very annoying to have the Pango role when you have that arena out. So makes some sense in that regard. But let's see. Team Tsunami do not have many options here. Given that they have the second pick for themselves, they need to make sure that this pick here is not going to be immediately double counted. We're probably going to be seeing the pause 5. What's still available? Warlock is still in the game, which I love. We saw Jakiro didn't necessarily do so well for WMN. Winter Wyvern's been banned away. No Ench. What else do they really want to have for themselves here, Bowie? What are you thinking for Tsunami?
I like the Snapfire you mentioned at the beginning. I think that's a good way to destroy the Nether Ward. It's still going to be a good combo, even if it's not in the same lane as Mars, because usually Skyrift Mage is always going to be the 4. But I think it's still good, it's solid 5. It doesn't care about Nether Ward, even if it's up, because you're going to be ulting from far away. I wouldn't be mad about a snap.
Radiant
I would like that. It also means that whenever somebody gets decrypt, doesn't actually provide a save, because then the burst damage from Morty's Kisses from very far away still hurts quite a bit. But they go for the Clockwork instead, so looking instead for some kind of fight interrupt and some kind of fight initiation. And of course, this is the old school combo of Clockwork with the Scareth Mage, setting up for that Mystic Flare very easily. So we see what the rationale is for Team Tsunami. Just have these kill combos all across the map. No matter what heroes are paired together, they can find somebody to bring down. Gransky Esports, though, note the lack of overall AoE clear, so they pick up the CK, and then they go in for the Zeus themselves. Still not apparent where the Zeus is going to go, but with Marcy Pugna as the first two, this feels like a mid-Zeus, but we've seen enough mid-Zeus. Talk to me about the CK hero. I saw it earlier in China today and it looked awful. Is this hero still viable in the safe lane in your opinion?
Yeah, it's definitely okay. Like, it's not as strong as it used to be, hopefully, thankfully, because it was definitely a little bit too strong. But I'm actually very scared for this Gareth mage now, because usually the problem with CK in the lane is reach, but Marcy has a lot of that, and Scarif mage has 0 armor. So if he gets stunned, he will definitely die. I also really like what they did here with this Pugna, because now it feels like they have this mid Pugna flex with the Zeus, and I think it's actually low-key pretty strong. The Clockwork that they picked, you know, it's okay versus the Pugna, but it actually is pretty bad versus the Zeus, which is probably why I think Pugna is going to be the support. As a core, you definitely don't want to be dying to a clock support, which means Zeus. Probably mid, which is also why they picked the Ember here. Probably going to be an interesting game for December, because you can dive the Zeus. There's not any like easy saves on the side of Grinsky. They need level 6 on that Pugna. The Crepify can often be more of a less of a save and more of a help for Tsunami, because you're going to have that magic increase. And now in terms of the bans here, we see Morphling and Void being banned out. So even though they have the Pugna, they still fear the Void. Interesting that that's the case. So you want something here that doesn't care about the arena. Oh no.
Aspect Tiny. Alright, still in the... Wow.
I suspected a Void Spirit, actually.
Phase 3 Tiny. Wow.
So that's offlane Tiny, right? Unless it's offlane Pugna.
It should be, yeah. Like, offlane Pugna, Marcy, and CK is kind of... Marcy's a medium case, but CK and Pugna are pretty bad, so pretty much feels like it has to be offlane Tiny. There's no other role. And of all these heroes playing into, like, a blind lane, Tiny is probably the one that could get away with it the most, as they do not know what the safe lane is going to be. And the safe lane does now get to revealed as the Lifestealer here for Pakaz on Team Tsunami. Alright, Lifestealer, they are also anticipating that it's going to be an offlane Tiny. Indeed, it's going to be the... No, it's mid Tiny. They are actually going to put the offlane Marcy. Alright, it was the long shot in this situation. I've only seen this a couple of times this patch, but... What do you make of this particular switch up? Putting the Tiny in the mid lane versus the Ember Spirit, getting the same lane practically that we saw in game number 1, but just mirror matched between the players, but also just another shuffle of what these lanes are going to look like based on the draft.
It's a weird one. Like, in a way, the Tiny is definitely going to be better against the Ember mid, but that also means that the Chaos Knight lane that I imagine is going to be much weaker, because Marcy is not going to be there. Either the Pugna or the Zeus, they're not the greatest partners. So that could allow Marvis on the Scarif mage to actually have a better game than I anticipated. At the same time, though, look at the cores that they have. They are all 3 strength cores. So that Scarif mage impact, because of that, will be mitigated just because they go for early BKBs. They are high strength in general. And I'm not a big fan of the last pick, Lifestealer. I know I actually talked about that hero, but I imagine it on the side of Grinsky just because, you know, strength hero doesn't really get bursted that easily. I feel like he's going to be kited very hard this game. You have a Marcy that's super mobile. You have Toss. You have the Pugna that Crepify. No easy answer. I think Jug would have actually been a much better pick, which they actually ended up going for in game 1. I don't remember if it was banned. I don't think it was. So I kind of have to give it to Grinsky again. I think this is going to be a pretty easy match for them.
On the one bright side of this Lifestealer, and I can't believe I find myself having to advocate for LS, but Lifestealer does have there's what, 3, like you mentioned, 3 strength cores on the other side, does have access to this feast. If he can get past this mid game where these BKBs have super long durations, get to like the Abyssal Blade, add like super tanky Abyssal Blade AC, this kind of build, he can get into the fight. There's several mechanisms for him to do so. And if they get any degree of disable at that later portion of the game onto these heroes, Lifestealer can actually chomp through you. And unfortunately though, CK sucks as a matchup because of all these illusions and this stupid level 20 talent. But nonetheless, it is still possible. Of course, it'll help a lot if they can find this first blood here, and they're gonna go looking for it. Marvis, this time around, they send a support to go and face check. Does get himself caught out, and there's gonna be the toss back onto WMN in front of the tier 1 tower. He's certainly gonna end up falling, but no first blood. The tower itself has not got the kill, so he's going to be able to escape, at least for now. There's going to be a chaotic vault thrown out onto Mad Made. The burst will be there as well from the Nether Blast. And 2 games in a row, Team Tsunami find themselves feeding kills in the early game as they commit 2 to Grindski Esports in an attempt to find a first blood of their own.
Yeah, that was way too forced. Like, they ran into the tier 1 tree area there to try and find first blood. I don't think that was necessary. Maybe nerves, you know, kind of getting to them. They feel like, oh, those guys are better than us. We have to find like cheesy ways of actually getting an edge. Unfortunately, it was very, very forced. You could see that, you know, some good plays. The Ember dodged the Chaos Bolt with the Sleight of Feast, but the initial idea was flawed, and that's why we actually already see a 2-0 here. Not a great start for Tsunami.
Not a great start indeed, especially considering that this lane, in game number 1, we saw Ember Spirit Tiny go a lot better for Ember because he got a first blood. This time around, he got killed early, so that lane is not going to look pretty overall for Mad Made. Down bottom, things are going to look okay at the very least for this particular lane. So Mars, with the help of the Gareth Mage, can provide a lot of harass potential. Grim suddenly has to be very careful about his positioning in this game. He's not playing this Gareth Mage with all the movement speed in the world. He is playing this Pugna, who is pretty fast, but can die because you're very, very squishy as well. And out on top, this is going to be the interesting one because Apollo at JWL were able to, in large measure, win out that first lane because of how much pressure they could apply to the Juggernaut Jakiro. Not the same as possible into the Lifestealer with the Clockwork behind them. So talk to me about what that lane is going to look like in the top.
I mean, I agree that, you know, the Lifestealer might not die, but I also feel like this Lifestealer has no kill potential and also no way to close the gap. You know, we're talking about him being kited. We have the toss, we have the Zeus jump, we have the Marcy jump, we have the Decrepify. Literally everyone but the CK has a way to kite this Lifestealer. So even if he gets a good lane, you know, the compounded effect of what I said plus the CK matchup you talked about, feels to me that this Lifestealer is going to really struggle. Even if he gets farm, he's going to struggle to turn that farm into meaningful things happening. You know, whether it's kills, Roshan being taken, builds falling. But I would love to be proven wrong. Right now, though, it really is going to be, in my opinion, about this Clock and Skyreth Mage playing alongside the Ember Mars. Like, those guys, they have to create a lot of space. They have to get the kills, which they definitely can. They only need, you know, a couple of levels and ideally some items, the Blink on Mars being the big one, the big first one.
Okay, Bowie, hear me out, bro. Well, wait, hold on. The Kyle's got tossed back. He doesn't have rage just yet. He's only level 3 now. So
I'm all ears.
No, he's fine. But check this out, check this out, check this out, check this out, check this out. So we both agree that this timing when they have these BKBs coming out from Grindski Esports is actually impossible for this Lifestealer to play into. There's going to be too much kite for him, too much tank ability on the enemy heroes. What if he dodges that phase of the game entirely and just buys Midas and tries to farm for a later portion of the game, relies on the other 4 to create space for him, and then join in a little bit later when he's much more farm, say, than the CK or Tiny?
Well, I'm not a Midas hater. So technically speaking, I can see it. I just feel that you know, as a player in a team, do you want to be the guy that's suggesting Midas? You know, do you think it's good for your position in the team itself to be the one that's like, guys, maybe we should buy Midas? Why do we go to Midas this game? You know, it never sounds right. You know, even if you are correct, it can be perceived in a bad light. But yeah, I don't mind if he goes for it. I think this definitely looks like a game where this Lifestealer, you know, any initial item is going to feel a little bit underwhelming. So I would love to see either a Midas or a straight up Maelstrom rush. You know, just get that farm going, rush that Javelin with Brown Boots. I think that could be a lovely way for him to kind of scale and match the CK into the very late portion of the game.
You know, CK doing quite well for himself down in this bottom lane, top of the CS right now. Did have his courier killed off earlier on, but who the hell cares? Farming super well and preventing Good from being able to establish himself at all in this lane. Grims has also done a very good job of not getting caught out at all, so they haven't really found any opportunities to try and get kills here. They're actually going to make the dive onto Good himself. Good turns around with Marvis onto Grims. Blast is going to come out eventually, but yet again, Bowie, we see this twice in a row now. Marvis failing to get the necessary experience on his hero. Because he loses the experience game, he's not able to put out the same amount of damage as Grims, his opposing partner in the laning phase.
Yeah, for sure. It really feels like the off lane is being a problem for Tsunami both games. This time though, they did first face the Mars, so like I'm kind of okay with that, really. The problem is that in game 1, you actually give last pick to your offlaner, and he still, like, kind of gets trashed. So, you know, in this game, Mars still going to do what he's supposed to as long as you get enough time. So that's why I think in this match, probably not that big of a problem. Still, you ideally don't want him dead, and it's actually the partner that dies. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, this first phase, Gareth Mage as well, also coming in to help them out in that situation. Was just complaining about Marvis and his lack of experience. He accrues some right now off of the blood of his Grim's opponents. Okay, good times. Decent times. The CS advantage, not looking so hot across the map though. Mars still being prevented from getting much CS. The mid lane is going as what this matchup looks like normally when you don't have this first blood coming for the Ember Spirit. So now it's very important that they're able to secure some of these runes. WMN trying to make it happen in the top lane. It's an Invis rune, but Apollo gets it first. Madmate, he got too greedy on that one. He wanted to get like a couple CS in the lane before coming back to the rune. But as a result, loses out on the rune entirely and will have to refill his bottle the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, that's definitely not great because if they denied the Zeus from getting the Invis, they could get the rune plus the kill. Pretty unfortunate there. And this Ember, he really needs those runes to feel impactful this game. Unlike the Ember that kind of relies on items, you really rely on the runes as Ember to be able to like help those side lanes. The top lane, actually a lot of pressure here on poor Pakas. He does have a tango going for him, but it's rough because as Lifestealer, you really don't want to go past 2 points of Feast just because it's such a bad spell, doesn't help you farm. But this might be one of those lanes where, you know, he feels forced into that 3rd point, and it's not going to really increase his farming speed, unfortunately.
Yep. One of the reasons that this Lifestealer hero sucks, you know it's bad when your key spell is one of your worst ones. Feels bad to be right now, but he'll try and make this up. Try to figure out a way forward in this particular situation. We have a little bit of a lag spike here, but... you know, a little bit of Kale. Unfortunately, while the Kale was happening, we missed a very important kill because Lewis ends up getting the full dive into this mid lane and finding an engagement. Bottom as well. First arena of the game committed. They killed the Gareth Mage. Akashi, though, will not be dissuaded by said arena. Finishes it off with a double. So 3 heroes dying across the map, 2 of them being cores. Oh, what just happened? Team Tsunami sort of imploding at various points around the map here, Bowie.
I think the Kale maybe affected them as well. I don't know. Like, we were out for 5 seconds and suddenly there's 3 kills all around the map. This is very unfortunate, you know, because until this point, it definitely felt like a better chance for them compared to game 1. But already that 3k goal lead we kind of saw in game 1 as well. This Ember, he really needs to start getting some rotations. In first game, that was pretty much the point where we saw Ember getting some good rotations up. Level 7, 4 points of the Sleight of Fist with the Flame Guard being level 2. Would love to see him trying to get a Remnant in the mid lane as he rotates to a side lane. The problem is that Arena is on cooldown, so that's probably what he's waiting for. You need that up for any rotations.
30 seconds until the Arena will be back online. Does have a regen rune bottled up as well, so we'll feel a bit more aggressive doing so. Pakas now getting muscled away from the lane up on top. He has opted to go for this armlet build for himself on this Lifestealer, so we're not going to be getting the farm explosion that we wanted from him. Does mean that Team Tsunami feel that their best odds are to be able to fight, but as you mentioned, a lot of that fight is locked behind the Ember Spirit, and he's not making these rotations now. It only gets harder as time goes on and these heroes get tankier on their enemy squad. triggered now the regen rune to get back all his mana. Let's see if he will move bottom here, Bowie, because Good does have the arena back online. Marvis is about to crack level 5, so they have a bit more damage. And Clockwork is already in the vicinity. They could try to make this move. They even had the vision, but they're scared. They don't want to do it. Ember is going to finally start moving over, but doesn't have an appropriate route to do so. Knows he's going to get scouted on the way. Doesn't have a smoke. So there's no point making this move. A lot of time has just been wasted. It seems Tsunami haven't been able to accomplish much off the back of it.
Oh, Apollo, he was so greedy with his movements there, and even still the Ember didn't... Alright, he does get the kill. That's good. Like, it really feels like they're scared right now. They get the Pugna. Okay. They do throw some punches back. It's only the 2 supports, unfortunately, but still kills nonetheless. That's really the problem that I see, though. The fact that all of those cores are very tanky on the side, and you have the Nether Ward on the Pugna, it just further amplifies that problem. The Lifestealer not really being a bursty hero whatsoever. Speaking of burst, this Ember being chased down.
They might get a turnaround actually onto Apollo. Apollo's in danger. Will find himself dying to the spider first. WMN looking for the power cogs. Will be able to trigger it out. Avalanche though making it difficult for Madmate to approach this. And we finally get level 6 out on the Pugna. Life drain ensuring that the Tiny will not fall. Still another death onto the Apollo Zeus. Does cost a life. They got a bit aggressive for the Clockwork kill. Had they just backed off, it would have been a clean re-engage. But at the end of the day, it's still Madmate finally getting some kills to his name. The rotation comes to him instead of vice versa, but ultimately still worth it.
Yeah, for sure. We already see, though, how much this Pugna is going to be a problem. Already has Nether Ward level 3, has that healing coming. So I feel like this might be a game where the Pugna just rushes. You know, I know Wraithback is a very strong item, but I feel like if he wants to go for healing, it's also a pretty good choice. Top lane. Oh, Pakast. Oh my lord. That Marcy.
Lewis. They got him. Blink on Lewis. Avalanche toss. They're the ones that actually made the initial jump onto the Marcy, assuming they could get the kill. But without the WMN Clockwork there to provide the necessary lockdown, Marcy literally just walked away from them. Now Clockwork might end up dying as well. Lewis getting the toss back into the rest of the squad. WMN will create space and time, but it's only borrow time. No batter needed for that. We just get another quick kill, and that's also a tower about to fall because this is a push during a Sea Dragon wave. Things yet again coming in clutch here for the side of Gransky eSports in this early game.
Yeah, this Clockwork, like he's so important in this game because they don't have a lot of initiation until Mars has a Blink Dagger. He's level 4. Apollo was struggling as well, but with some of those kills, now he actually cracks level 7. I feel like they gave the tome to the Skyref mage, which further makes this a problem for poor WMN. They need to give him the deadline for a bit so he can recover. That said, though, the rune control for Tsunami has been pretty good. That's the 3rd rune I see the Ember pick up. And, you know, I'm still wishing that they just play together. They find a CK, can't they? Oh, no.
Okay, they've already lost the Skyref mage, so it's a difficult kill. Yeah. And Madmate, even with the haste rune, realizes that this kill is actually impossible. Worse than that, there's reinforcements en route. So it's forced to get out. Had Madmate made the initial jump and maybe you dodge the Chaos Ball, then suddenly you still have access to the Mystic Flare. But ultimately, that is not the case. And you know, back when CK was strong, we'd often see this Ember Spirit picked into the CK so he can quickly come in, burst the illusions. But when you're this under-leveled as Madmate and you're still catching up on farm to this degree, that's never really going to be an actual thing happening in this game. The CK illusions are going to feel pretty much immortal in these fights.
Oh, for sure. But, you know, even though he is underfarmed, I feel like if he's the one initiating, the CK by himself can't really burst the Ember that easily at this stage of the game. So, like, I feel like he's being way too passive with the way he is playing his hero. Because with that haste, like, he can definitely just go into the jungle. And if the Skyref mage is behind, then he actually throws the silence. And they kind of chase this CK to death. Unfortunate. I feel like Madmate, you know, with that game 1, with the Deftest game, kinda too scared. Oh, they do get level 6 on Clockwork. This is gonna be a Pugna kill.
Finally get the 6, finally get a kill. Lewis gonna look for revenge though. Oh, 2 heroes being thwacked away with this tree. JWL, beautiful rebound hit, able to bring down the Skyref mage. Arena though, dropped by Good. Just to secure the retreat for WMN. They don't have the damage to keep this fight going, but Madmate stuck around too long. What the hell? Oh no, gets hard punished for this one. They're trying to chase down the Clockwork as well. He's inside the power cogs. Lewis has Avalanche in 2 seconds. Won't come back in time. We'll be able to TP out on the clock. Nothing doing for Madmaid. And what were they doing? Team Tsunami, I thought they were going to retreat from the arena. What happened? What happened?
I mean, he just totally underestimated how strong his hero was. That's only level 2 Flame Guard. He's starting to get the points into chains, which I agree with. But yeah, he's definitely not going to survive that Avatos combo, especially with the free throw on top of it. Speaking of that, there you go. That's a lot of burst damage, which is very hard for them to handle. The, having this agility core on the Ember and this Gareth mage, they are very prone to these tiny rotations, and he's having a good game. He's the lowest farm core on the side of the Radiant, but still way ahead of everyone else on Tsunami, unfortunately.
I could do with more of that.
That said,
time for himself.
Radiance being the item the Leicester is going for. I don't even disagree with it. I fear he's not gonna finish that item.
Yeah, I have the same fear. I don't think he's gonna get there at the pace this game is going. He's only starting the Radiance build at 15 minutes after finishing this omelet, so certainly a lot of delays. His team is gonna have to pull out some miracles. We'll see though if they can dodge this smoke gank. Will be a miracle if Madmaid survives this. Lewis has a beat on him. Not thinking about making the jump though. Still feels he's too close to the tower. He's showing way too far forward. He's might die here. Avalanche toss. He gets out. Where's the Zeus out? Zeus doesn't have the damage. Thunder God's Wrath coming back in 4. Madmaid, will he survive? He's gonna get hit. Okay, he's fine. He's fine. Woo. 275 is the damage threshold, and he was just ahead of it. But that was super close from him.
Definitely was. I mean, this game is getting out of hand very quickly. The lifestealer going Radiance. Oh man, I feel like if he went like Midas Radiance, I would be okay with it. But he went way too many intermediary items. He had like Bracer, Phase Boots, then Armlet. I think it's just way... He still got bullied out of lane anyways. Oh, as I babble, they do find Pugna, but that feels like the only target that they can kill on Tsunami. I think out of those
Lewis
6 kills...
has several targets on the other side though. He's already brought down the Gareth mage and chasing down Good as well. Gonna try and toss him back. Nice spear back from Good. WMN making some space, but look who it is. It's Lewis, caught out again on the Ember. Oh. He loses his life. Oh. Beautiful toss forward. JWL and Lewis, the interplay between the two of them enables them to catch onto the high ground and find this kill. Gransky eSports themselves can't believe what they're doing. I can't believe what I'm seeing. And Tsunami cannot believe what they're experiencing as they lose 4 heroes in this jungle.
Like, I think the Marcy... Was that really a toss? Because I don't think he had vision for that.
Alright, hold on. We need an instant replay.
Production that was very... I would love a replay of that, because that was one of the craziest play by far this game. Lewis kind of low, but I don't feel like he can get this kill. It really... They don't have hook shot.
They're trying to chase for it though. JWL find himself silenced. They have to remnant back on Madmaid. Look how much HP Marvis has already lost just to Apollo spamming in some of these spells. This early pickup of the Aghanim shot on the Zeus is killing them. And now Pakaz also going to die from the Avatos. It brings him down. They dispose on the Mars, trying to bring him down on JWL. Apollo will at the very least die to the Clockwork, spamming out this battery assault. 1-1 so far, make that 2 as Lewis and Grims clean up on the Clockwork as well. But here comes Madmaid, but he comes right back into an Avatos too. Oh no, it's all falling apart for Team Tsunami. Toss back yet again from Lewis. He is just out of his mind this game on the Tiny. Another 4 heroes die. Literally, they all respawn and go straight back to the fountain.
Yeah, it's just weird. They're under a lot of pressure. So, like, the Mars had 10% HP, had Arena, so maybe they felt like they could take a fight, and that kind of debated the Ember into just using a lot of resources and eventually just dying because the Mars never found an opening for his spear. And now this is it's gonna be Roche. It's just a really hard game for them to take. I think, you know, this game, once again, they have last pick on the side of Tsunami. I don't like this Lifestealer last pick at all. I feel like the Juggernaut could have been a better pick. There were other carries that could also be good. This Radiance build is just not gonna come online, I think.
I mean, it's the worst of all worlds, right? In that fight, we saw it there. He doesn't have the natural tank ability that will normally come from going this armlet build. He doesn't have that presence in the fight right now. But nor does he have the damage that would normally come with the bigger builds like the Radiance. But also, nor does he have the farm capability that would come with going greedier like Maelstrom Midas. Literally nothing working out for the Lifestealer. Also, I happened to confirm what happened. So what happened was that Marcy rebounded, right, rebounded onto Tiny. Tiny tossed her onto Clockwork, and then Clockwork hookshotted onto the other heroes. So the toss kept following the Clockwork, and he ended up all the way on the other side, which was pretty hilarious.
That's interesting. I really feel like I've seen like toss, like if you toss someone and that person blink before the toss target reaches, the toss doesn't follow, but that's because maybe Blink actually disjoints things, and because it was a hook shot, it doesn't actually disjoint and the toss follows. Maybe that's what happened there. But yeah, I mean, very funny nonetheless. She had BKB, so it was not a problem. Usually she would probably die, but because he BKB ulted under tier 3, still got the kill. Marcy looking very strong, and now with this smoke yank, they could find some dire heroes. I think Ember is very dead. Yep.
Bye. Well, that happened against Gareth Mage, also being like, I don't want to get left out of the party. Send me to my homie. And we'll take the express trip back to the fountain as well. Oh boy. This is starting to look terrible. We spoke in the previous game about whether or not Ember Spirit has to buy the BKB, as JWL also just finishes off this Clockwork. This game, there was a point where Ember had queued up the Maelstrom, had to come back for this BKB as he started chain dying. But at the rate this game is going, might not even get to the BKB itself. So you don't have any items on this Ember Spirit. Mars only has Blink Shard. His progress towards BKB halted out somewhat. Probably felt compelled to go Shard just for some degree of D-push. Because if you look at their draft, their only real D-push really is going to be on God's Rebuke. So he had to buy the Shard just to give them D-push. But that also means he has a slower BKB. Everything just starting to look very difficult for Tsunami right now.
Yeah, for sure. They have a lot of problems to solve, not a lot of time or money to really deal with them. But, you know, maybe... Okay, there we go. The Marcy dude is so scary. Because, like, the Ava toss makes sure someone gets stuck. And because this Marcy has Blink, the follow-up is always there. Clock actually gets stunned. Good arena. I mean, not really a good arena. It's only the Tiny side.
It might. They drop a Mystic Flare onto the Tiny. Lewis is falling low. Lewis is not the one carrying the Aegis, but unfortunately for Lewis, or fortunately for him, Team Tsunami just don't have damage. Even after all that disable, everybody else is just getting picked apart systematically, one by one. And ultimately, just they throw in the towel. Team Tsunami read the writing on the wall. They see what's up. They call GG. Grindski eSports, now your second team inside the winner bracket final, guaranteeing top 3 at the Top Clans Invitational, and doing it in style, Bowie. Very quick games in this 2-0 stop from them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They definitely felt a couple of tiers above Tsunami. You know, I love their name. I love, you know, the fact that Pakaz is the hand of the carry. But at the end of the day, I think their drafts were lacking a little bit. I also feel like very few mistakes being done. You know, you just... Even the Ember in game 1, just getting that BKB, just making sure that he's the guy that's supposed to initiate. As long as he's alive, they're going to get to good fights. In this game, we see the Marcy just rushing BKB, even though she had a great game. So, you know, they're playing to win. They're not really making a lot of mistakes, and they deserve the top 3 for sure. You know, even like after watching this game, I could even imagine that they are contender for top 1. But this was only the second series I'm casting, so very excited to see what the other teams will bring to these kind of final matches of the tournament that we are approaching.
I think I can vindicate your opinion there, because having seen some of the series casted with LBZS and M11, LBZS reigning champions from our previous Top Summer Clans Invitational, and of course M11 being able to take them down, they looked hella good. LBZS, they look like LBZS, good at points, a bit awkward and shaky at others. But those two teams have certainly looked like they are the best teams so far within the tournament right now. And certainly the way that Grindski eSports played this game, they would certainly make it a tough opposition. Probably take it to a 3-game series, but I think they definitely are contenders right now for taking it all home at the very end. And they played clean Dota. That's the thing I like to see. It's situations where you don't just win the laning phase, you don't just have a superior draft, but you play that draft to its strengths. And they played it this one perfectly, especially in this game. Once they got that Blink Dagger on the Tiny, Lewis just gave them no quarter all across the map. Look how beautiful this looks. Your carry player, 0 deaths. Your offlaner, 0 deaths. Your mid player, 0 deaths. Only your supports are the ones that end up feeding. And all of this down to our boy Lewis being able to enable his entire team from the early game.
Oh, for sure. And we talked about it. I think that the draft was very intelligent in the sense that they ended up getting these 3 melee strength cores. They were very hard to bring down, so not surprised at all that they never died. We could see that only the Pugna really died this game. And yeah, I think good drafts, very good ideas in terms of how they played. And I don't know, it really felt hard for Tsunami. Maybe with a better build on the Lifestealer, could have been a longer game, but I still feel like at the end of the day, the game plans, there were no match. The game plan on the side of Greensky was much superior, and the Radiance was just gonna be a slower death maybe for them. But yeah, very hype game. What?
I'm just laughing because I'm laughing at this Radiance potential build-up when we're talking about Alchemist in game 1. It's just like, wouldn't you have rather just played Alchemist if you're gonna build Radiance anyway?
I mean, yes and no, because like they have a lot of physical damage, right? And like, but you're right, Lifestealer doesn't have a lot of armor also. So maybe you're right. Like if they actually had this like very fast tempo carry on the Alchemist, could have been different. It's just that at the end of the day, I just struggle to the way they were playing the 0 minute, right? Just going for those smoke plays, just trying to get first blood. I really feel like that's not how Dota is played right now, and that's something they have to work on. They were just trying to get these like cheesy plays at the beginning, and that usually has way more downsides than upsides, which definitely played on Greensky's hands. And now if you see here at the bracket, we're gonna have Greensky versus Mill, and LBZS did win the last match that I casted against Young Galacticos. So we're gonna be waiting for Meow Meow versus Tsunami that now fell down. So I would love to see Tsunami kind of coming back. Maybe against Meow Meow they'll have a better chance.
I've got bad news for you, buddy. Meow Meow tomorrow, who's taking on Team Tsunami. There's 2 South Africans on this team. My fellow countrymen are here. They're gonna come through. They're gonna show some magic. Even Ninja Boogie's on Meow Meow. Team Tsunami do not stand a chance. Admittedly, this is quite biased because these are my countrymen and I know these guys personally, so I want them to win. But on a serious note, if Tsunami do not level up drastically from what we saw today, I do think Meow Meow will make mincemeat out of them, especially considering, Bowie, that game is a BO1. It is not a BO3. So Tsunami will not have any room for recovery. So if they have like weird lost picks, Lifestealer, Brewmaster, in those kind of situations, it's even more punishing when it is a best of 1 elimination game, because there's pressure on you to perform in the game and to make sure that you perform just to stay in the tournament. Team Tsunami might not be able to handle it if nothing changes before tomorrow.
Sure. I also just want to say that beautiful logo Meow Meow is top tier. That is one of the best logos I've seen in a while. So yeah, definitely excited for your countrymen and Ninja Boogie play together. I mean, those are some big names that you mentioned, so I would be impressed if Tsunami can take it, but that would be an even cooler story, and maybe kind of Phoenix story for them, kind of having this rebirth moment during the tournament. Nonetheless, it was a pleasure casting with you too. I mean, I said Tsunami was there. And yeah, I mean, really excited to see what the next matches are going to bring to the table.
Yep, tomorrow is certainly going to be an incredible day of Dota. Of course, there's an elimination match for Team Tsunami if they want to stay in this game against the side of Meow Meow. But on the other side of things, Grindski eSports earning themselves a place in the winner bracket final. And tomorrow, they'll have 1 series to play to get themselves into the grand final and challenge for the lion's share of that $10,000 prize pool that we have here in the Top Clan Summer Invitational. With that, though, we are going to be calling it quits for the day. Let these teams go and rest. Let Bowie go and rest after dropping his knowledge and his voice and giving his time to us. What a G. Of course, everybody at home, we could not do this alone. So please, please, please Make sure to go and shout out to the people that made this possible, partners over on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and also at the EGG network. And tomorrow we'll be back at around 2 p.m. So make sure that you are here to witness every single game. We start with the best of one series, but by the end of the day, we will know who the final boss of the tournament is. We will know who is the big boss, the final person to defeat, the first position in the grand finals of the Top Clans Invitational. Until then, do not miss it. Be right back. Good night, everybody. We love y'all, and we'll see you tomorrow for some more DPC action.